not going?
There, bro. Be close.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Quinn.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smyth Radio. Your host, Brian Smith and
Kerry Smith.
giving you all the late breaking news of last week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, telling you what happened on Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, and early Sunday because, man, the media really likes to hide all the great information that goes down over the weekend. It's the little golden nuggets of truth, I like to call it. We go ahead and we dig those up. We put them out here on Smyth Radio for you. If you want to be a part of the show tonight, you have something on your mind, something you want to speak about, give us a call, 513-888-1538. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Smyth Radio, SMYTH Radio. And on Twitter, our Twitter account's blowing up. You follow us at Smyth Radio. YouTube channel is blowing up. Have a lot of success with YouTube right now. And as soon as YouTube fixes their live video conferencing, if you will, live video interfacing, it's almost like you could almost use it as a Skype, right? Can you use the YouTube as having multiple people videoing in at the same time?
Oh, that takes a separate application.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube's having some issues, and they're working that out. As soon as that happens, we are working on bringing Smyth Radio to you via video and audio. Right? Mr. Producer?
I'll tell you what.
Mr. Technical Engineer.
The producers over at YouTube need to get their act together.
Right. So, also follow a couple of friends of ours on Twitter. You can follow at Cernovich, 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 Mike Cernovich. Just doing some amazing things right now.
If Brian has to tell you what his Twitter handle is, woo, you are way behind the times.
And the reason why I throw that out there, we had this conversation yesterday, and I was beside myself on it. There's this social media avalanche
Before
or
you get
tsunami.
into that real quick, I'm trying to tweak. Can you give me the phone number real quick?
Oh, 513-888.
Oh, hold on a second. Call at...
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I'm typing it out.
888.
555. No, go ahead.
1538.
1538.
And if you don't have that by now, audience, log that in on your redial. Put us on at number 2 because number 1 is your voicemail.
I was going to say number 2 is something that you don't want to...
No, nobody does that anymore.
Oh.
You don't have the quick redials anymore. I don't.
Wow, you're really aging yourself or dating yourself there.
With the crackberries. So, anywho, we were talking about this yesterday, this tsunami, this avalanche of information that's coming out. And Carrie called me and was talking to me about what's going on the boob tube, on the TV with the news media outlet. And I told him, I said, man, everything you just said, the opposite is happening on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
There
well,
was a
basically.
huge
yeah.
flashback on Twitter.
Yeah, the thing is that every single mainstream media outlet, every one of them, was just piling on and giving time to these fake accusations of Trump and all that kind of stuff, which I'm very happy to report to you guys, and this is something you really need to really let soak in to your brain, into your memory, and remember it, because it's just too unbelievable because of the fact that there's so much reporting the opposite of what I'm about to tell you. But if you check some of the people that we follow on YouTube, they're coming out with videos that either give you circumstantial evidence or empirical evidence that these accusations are fake.
Right.
They're not real.
No.
They didn't happen. And a lot of times you got to put it into context. You got to kind of look, okay, what do we know about Trump? And what do we know about these women? And what do we know about the timing, the date relative to our election, and the fact that we got to have a steady stream of October surprises? And what is the state of the Hillary campaign, which they will never let you know this, but it's in shambles. They have nothing. In fact, Hillary cannot get above 45%. That is her peak. That is the most she can do. That is the very best she can do. She cannot get over 45%. So the strategy, and they know this. This is no secret to them. They're not at some table in some boardroom somewhere thinking, gosh, what can we do to get her above 45%? Can we get her to 47%? Heck, if we get her to 50%, this thing's over, right? Well, they know. They're not saying that because they know that she's never going to get over 45%. So now the strategy is we got to get Trump below 45%. We got to keep him below 45%. And let's be honest, the 45% that she's polling is very, very inflated. We know how it's inflated, why it's inflated. So realistically, she's probably going to get about 40 to 42% on Election Day. That means they've got to destroy Trump to get him down to that level. And they've been doing that. And I don't believe the polling at all anymore. I'm going to make a confession here. Back during Romney's time, 4 years ago, 2012, his numbers he was trailing Obama. And I didn't want to believe it. And a whole bunch of friends of mine didn't believe it. And they just were going on this hope and a prayer that they're wrong about the polling. And you'll see on Election Day when we get out there and we vote, you're going to see what the real numbers are. And without thinking too much about the details of why it may or may not have happened, but it turns out that the polls were just about dead on accurate, but there were other things at play. There was Hurricane Sandy. There was the fact that he threw away the second two debates and also just kind of disappeared for the last few weeks before the election. And so those kind of things definitely played a role in giving us the results that the polls showed for the past month. But times have changed. The media has always been biased, and the bias has been getting worse the past 10 years. The problem is that they're no longer biased. They are bold-faced lying. They are lying, and they're using other deceptive tactics so that they can get away from accusations of lying. And Face the Nation was very interesting this morning. If you got a chance to watch Face the Nation this morning, they had Mike Pence on. And John Dickerson is the host of Face the Nation. And when Pence came on, when Mike Pence came on, they wanted to talk about Trump, and they wanted to talk about all the allegations and the scandals and all this kind of stuff. And Mike Pence did a masterful job of giving them a very, very, very minimal answer and pivoting hard and quick to go straight to the scandals that Hillary has, which is all coming out in the WikiLeaks, right?
Right. And we're going to get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to the WikiLeaks.
The top 19 most damning WikiLeaks. Number 16 will shock you.
Yeah, we have to tease you guys like that. Number 16 will shock you. So anyway, so Pence, and every time Pence started pivoting, John Dickerson was like, What I want to do is get you back on to Trump. We're not here to talk to you, and we're definitely not here to talk about Hillary at all. You're not allowed to talk about Hillary on our show. We're going to go straight back to what we want to talk about, which is anything that's going to make Trump look bad, even if it's a bold-faced lie. So they kept doing that to him. And then right after that, they had Tim Kaine on, the vice presidential candidate for the Democrat ticket, the criminal ticket. He then proceeded to get questions about Trump and Trump's scandals. They did not ask him or demand that he stays on any kind of a topic about Hillary. They didn't talk about Hillary.
That's amazing.
They wanted Pence to not talk about Hillary and talk about Trump. And then when Kaine came on They wanted Kane to stick to the topic of bashing Trump and not talk anything about Hillary.
We got to make it all about Trump. This is the Trump hour.
Well, not just about Trump, because there's a lot of good news about Trump.
No, not to them. Not to them.
Well, no, they make the fake news, and
Right.
then they want to stick on the fake news. So, and it's all centered around a fact that they get to hold in their hand, like Lenny from Mice of Men.
Wow.
And they get to pet it and stroke it and hold it. And that fact is that they have an audio of Trump talking to Billy Bush in a private conversation inside of a bus on a hot mic where he's making some lewd jokes.
Not to sidetrack,
No,
but,
go
but
ahead.
part of that. Did you see that video of Obama on his first presidential run in 2008?
I didn't know what the timeline of that
Oh
was.
my God! He wasn't president yet.
Okay.
This is 2008. He's on the campaign trail. He's at the back of his aircraft, at the very back,
And it
on
looks
a
like
cell
a
phone.
regular aircraft because there's like a lot of seats. When you go onto an aircraft and you see rows and rows of seats, that's what this looked like. It didn't look like a presidential plane.
Yeah, like a standard rental.
Which bolsters your point. A standard rental. No, it's called a charter. he went to Enterprise. Yeah, I need your
Standard rental.
777 or something.
Couple.
No, this proves that it wasn't after he won the election, because then he would have been on Air Force One.
Right.
In which case it wouldn't have looked like a charter plane.
Right, a rental. So he's on the cell phone, and apparently he's got a semi. And if you don't know what that means, it's a
What movie was that from? Was that Wayne's World?
That
Or those chubby?
No, we were. That was Wayne's World. No, we were watching Top Gear. Top Gear, and he was interviewing the kid
The
from.
red-haired kid
Yeah.
from Harry Potter. I never can remember that. I don't even know. See, Brian and I are aging ourselves again.
Not too far off topic.
Because if we were millennials,
We'd know.
we would not only know what their full name was in the movie, but their full real name now.
Right. Correct.
So if you're a millennial out there, we apologize for our ignorance. But it's the red-haired kid from Harry Potter.
Okay. So Obama's in the back of the aircraft, and apparently.
Wait, weren't you going to tell what the red-haired kid said?
Oh, the guy interviewing the red-haired kid said, "Hey, when you were on the set, did you get a semi?" And he's like,
Because of Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
I do remember her name.
Right. So now, if you don't know those terms, you should by now know what we're talking about. So Obama's in the back of the aircraft on the cell phone, apparently enjoying the talk that he's having way too much.
He's on the phone.
On the phone, way too much.
Maybe he just woke up. Do you think it was morning wood?
No, this was afternoon, and it certainly looked like he was enjoying the
Yeah, but
conversation.
your sleep schedule could be all messed
be.
up when you're
Could
on the campaign.
Or if he had to use the bathroom really bad. Sometimes that happens.
when you're 5.
To help you lock it up.
When you're 5.
So, anywho, the female and male reporters on the chartered craft started pointing and laughing, giggly like high school, giggling
Right.
at Obama having
A full-on.
a full-on erection. And so, to make it, he catches on. He's on the phone, and he catches on to what they're giggling about.
My question is
Hold it.
why wouldn't you? Because I've been through high school before.
I know you would turn
how-
away. This is not what he did. He did not turn away. He lifted his leg up.
Did he do the helicopter? or-
He put his leg up on the arm of a chair or something up high to literally spread eagle and expose himself to the news crew.
And it was like almost
And let them in-
mostly female.
Oh yeah,
And they giggled
Here,
and
have
giggled.
at it. Here, have at it. But that's okay. Trump cracking a joke in private, saying, "Yeah, you could probably grab him in the posse if you want." I mean, come on. What are we talking about? And let me tell you, folks, we'll get into this a little bit later on. I think in the second hour, we're going to talk about Trump in Cincinnati. And we went live, and we periscoped at the event. and we interviewed women at the event. And the third woman will shock you.
We have this obsession with
Shocking.
troll titles.
Well, I'm so done with these. Okay, you scroll down at the bottom of a website, and then all of
Not
this,
even the bottom. It's like the. Oh, I know what you're saying. At the bottom of an article,
right? And all of a sudden, some
it'll say
idiot.
It'll say 10 parasites that will kill you. Number 7 will shock you. You know, stuff like that.
Right,
It's just,
or-
it's silly.
Or top 10 famous people you won't recognize. Number 10
Will shock
you.
Yeah. Or 20 celebrities you did not know were dead.
Right, and the funny thing
Number
is,
7 will shock you.
right, but the picture they show is a picture of someone who was hoaxed to be dead, but's not dead.
Right.
And it catches your attention. You're like, well,
He's dead?
oh, I gotta check.
It turns out he's not. He came out as gay, and so you remember that he was in the
And he's not even in the list. That was just a troll picture, with a troll title.
It's the ultimate troll picture.
Oh, I'm so done, folks.
Yeah. So anyway, if you hear us joke about that, that's the joke. We have
Correct.
to explain that.
And so-
there is no inside stuff here.
No. What the thing is that you are inside the inside.
Right.
We're letting you in on it all.
Whew, so what happened?
We are
this
waiting
week?
for a VIP
Oh, somebody
call-in.
calling in?
Yeah, we're waiting for a
Oh,
VIP
okay.
call-in.
Well, let's just kind of get into the news, and when they call, they call. No big deal.
We can-
And also later on in the show, we're going to go ahead and call into Your Voice Radio.
A live call-in.
Yeah, we're going to call into them because we're going to do like a joint, short little interview
Venture,
thing.
a joint venture.
Well, the main thing, and what we're probably going to talk about, and what they probably want to talk about, is that we were at the Trump event. Brian was actually inside the event. I was the actual driver of the motorcade. So that should be kind of an interesting thing. Plus, also, we are in Ohio, and Ohio is under siege by the GOP.
By the GOP and by voter fraud. And we talked about this before we go on
my
live.
goodness. Wow.
With my wife, we talked about how the GOP, well, she asked, who's to monitor that, or something came up
Oh,
about
you're
who's
talking about
monitoring.
voter fraud.
Right.
Right.
And we both said, well, the GOP is going to monitor that.
Yeah, it's like this. There may be some
no-
sort of a department out there whose job
Whatever.
It is too.
They are on smoke break all month, all week.
all for 4 years.
They get.
And when they're done with their 4-year smoke break, they go back on their next one. So anyway.
So we're going to talk about that in Ohio and the fact that the GOP would be watching, would post up informants at local polling places that may be suspected of voter fraud. However, now, probably not.
Yeah, and the thing is it's kind of like a, hey, we watch each other type thing. It's just like, this is an extreme example, but in war, somebody would say, well, there's war, there's laws in war. You got your Geneva Convention and all that kind of stuff. Who actually enforces that? Well, it's kind of like this. We know we're not supposed to murder prisoners. And the reason we won't is for 2 reasons. Number 1, it'll make the enemy fight a lot harder. And
Right.
number 2, and also they won't surrender. They'll fight to the death because they'll know that we're murdering them anyway.
Right.
And number 2, if they have some of our prisoners, they're going to feel like it's okay to murder our prisoners. Right. So there is no committee to enforce these rules of law during rules of war during a war. It's kind of like we mutually just kind of police ourselves so that we don't end up getting a little bit too uncivilized, if you know what I mean. And that's how that works. Well, when it comes to elections, the GOP is looking over the shoulder of the Democrats, and the Democrats are looking over the shoulder of the GOP, and you just make sure that you're not committing voter fraud, and you just don't want to do that. And neither side should want to do that because, number one, they're going to cause the other side to really raise a stink about it, and then there's going to be problems. And the other reason is that the people who really care about this more than anything are the people. And if they find out about it, I mean, it could get ugly. Let me tell you something.
Bad, fast.
When you take away free and fair elections, you're taking democracy and freedom away from the people. And if you do that, I don't even want to begin to try to explain to you what that may mean, what that will have to mean. What recourse do the people have left? And this is a warning to any of you officials or workers, or especially high-level elected officials. You got to really think about this stuff, because I'm not going to sit here and call for violence, but I'm warning you that I doubt you're going to be able to stop it. When people start finding out that the reason that X, Y, or Z won is because you made it happen, and that all these people's vote didn't count and didn't matter for anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what are you going to do?
I mean, we've been talking back and forth, and also all over Twitter.
I'm not going to be able to stop it. That's all I got to say.
One, I'm not going to stop it. I'm not going to even try and stop it.
And I'm not going to. And it's not my job to stop it.
No.
And if you ask me to ask people to stop it, I'm going to say this was all in your hands. You had the ability to prevent this from happening, and you said, "You know what? I'm calling your bluff." And guess what? Maybe the people are bluffing, or maybe they're not.
No, maybe they're
and
not.
You decided to roll the dice. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah.
So apparently, so the GOP is supposed to watch the Dems at the polls. Is that going to happen?
No.
Presumably, yes.
Well, you would think, yes.
But why wouldn't they? That would mean that they're handing over fraudulent win to the other side, right?
Well, you would think, right.
You'd think. Well, it turns out, we found out this week, actually this weekend, this is breaking news. You're going to hear all about this. You're hearing it first from us. Maybe you heard a little bit from Twitter. I don't want to tell who the source was for Mike Cernovich's breaking news on the Ohio Civil War that apparently is broken out.
I'll tell you who he is. She. It. No, I'll keep it secret.
So, basically, you're hearing breaking news here on Smyth Radio. We're in Ohio. We have all the inside information. We know what's going on. So, let me try to explain this to you a little bit. So, there's a civil war in the GOP breaking out in Ohio.
And why Ohio? Why is Ohio that critical? Or is Ohio?
Well, first of all, Ohio's a swing state, but it doesn't matter. It's just a coincidence that we're a swing state. This could have happened in any state. But what it really boils down to is our leadership is Kasich. And Kasich is a completely selfish idiot. Flat out.
Correct.
It's all about him. It's all about his power. He doesn't care anything about the people of Ohio. And here's the thing. When you're in a union, and that union is called the United States of America, sometimes you have obligations as the head of a state towards this union. And one of those things I would say, and when I mean union, I mean the people.
Right.
John Kasich does have some responsibility towards a citizen in Utah and a citizen in Washington State. Not a lot. He has mostly obligations to the Ohio citizens of Ohio. But when it comes down to working to help to get the President of the United States, that is the nominee of the Republican Party, to win, this affects everybody in the whole country, right?
Right. And if you deny the fact that he is the nominee and you make an attempt not to support your own party's nominee, you therefore, by default, are helping the other side.
Right, which is what he's doing. And he's been doing this for a long time. This is no secret with John Kasich. Now, here's what else I can tell you. That it seemed to me, it appeared to me, as though there was a mutiny happening within the GOP. And they were not going along with Kasich. All these local level Republican candidates and current office holders were very secretly hush-hush saying, oh, we absolutely support Trump. One of the first ones was Dennis Dictators, and Dennis Dictators told me right to my face, I support him, but I have to hold off on endorsing. This is early. It was really early in the primary.
Okay.
Ted Cruz was still involved and all that kind of stuff. And he said, I got to hold off on endorsing, but I'm absolutely behind Trump. Because he has constituents who are not behind Trump. They were behind Cruz at the time. And he wanted to wait a little longer. And you know what? I'm totally cool with that during the primary. All right?
All right.
And there were others, too. And I have another insider that tells me that after talking to all the local Southwest Ohio Republican candidates and office holders, that it's almost unanimous that they're all behind Trump. This was after he won the primary and was our nominee. All the while, Kasich isn't doing anything about it, okay? And I was like, fine. Kasich could have his little childish temper tantrum as long as all the rest of the officials in the whole state of Ohio is behind Trump. Who cares what Kasich does or says?
Well, but it was really ugly, and the optics looked really bad.
Yeah, they had the RNC.
When the RNC convention is held in his state, in Cleveland, Ohio, he is a no-show. Trump extended his arm, extended an open mic for him. He was slotted to speak. He was given the opportunity. This is your time, Frank. Go ahead and speak. No show.
Right. He was a no-show. That's really embarrassing and all that kind of stuff. Here's another. This is kind of a side note. If you want to know what the motivation of Kasich doing this is that now, by the way, Trump was leading so big in Ohio that for weeks, all kinds of reports were coming out that the Clinton campaign has pulled out of Ohio. You remember that?
Yes.
We were all excited. He was up by 10. Well, they were reporting he was up by 5 or 6 points. Internal polling, which I'm not supposed to repeat, but I don't care now. Who cares?
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. It may. I don't know why this person told me not to repeat this, that it has to be secret, but I don't care. Internal polling at the time Trump was up by 5 or 6 points, and reports were coming out that Hillary Clinton was pulling out of Ohio and she's done with it and she's just chalking it up as a loss. Internal polling had Trump ahead by 10. Okay?
Right.
Now, ever since Kasich won Ohio, because he worked really hard to win Ohio in the primary. I'm talking about his presidential primary. Kasich won the presidential primary in Ohio. From that point all the way till today, he's had a 58% approval rating in Ohio, which is pretty solid. That's pretty solid for a Republican in a state polling. Okay, so he still has 58% approval today. I think, based on the fact that Trump had Ohio sewn up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I believe it.
That Kasich decided to utilize his support to completely destroy him for personal vindication. It was all personal, and it was all butthurtness. He's just butthurt about being talked bad about or being called names during the primary by Mr. Trump. That's it. What are you laughing about?
No, the fact that he's just a butt, and he's butthurt.
Yeah.
He's a juvenile.
He's throwing
he's
everything away. The thing is Ohio is a critical swing state, and somehow, I have no idea how, I'm starting to hear from insiders, actually, that the people who have jumped ship and trying to do a coup in Ohio have never been on board with Trump, and a lot of them are not from Southwest Ohio anyway, which is the insider information I heard about all those Republican officials who are following Trump and were supporting him.
Well,
these are people in Columbus. There's a ton of people in Columbus.
Well, here on the west side of Cincinnati, the Trump signs are out and everywhere. Yards are littered with Trump signs.
And they've been there for a long time, too.
Yeah.
Now, the Hillary signs have been popping up here and there, but it's a very recent development. And there'd be a lot more Trump signs, but dozens and dozens and dozens of people who got Trump signs said that theirs were vandalized, tore up, or stolen.
Correct. Something else about Kasich. Back in his early, I think it might just been a couple of years ago, maybe 2012, 2014, he went down the road of voter ID, and Obama took him to the woodshed, and he folded like a cheap lawn chair.
Right. Now, did you see the video? The hidden.
And the reason why I said that, though, is because I'm sure somebody got to him with this.
Everybody knows it is out of. It's no longer a secret anymore. James O'Keefe has the hidden video where he videotapes. It's not him. It's actually a woman, but he has the tape. It's his little group. Veritas, I think is the name of it.
Yeah.
So,
Operation Veritas.
Yeah, Operation Veritas. So they recorded a Democrat election official saying that the reason that the voter ID laws are always fought against is because it's the only way that they can get away with the rampant voter fraud, which he admitted to.
Correct.
So he admits to the rampant voter fraud, and he admits that the only way to have free and fair elections is to have some sort of ID law like that, and that the only reason it's not like that is so that they can steal the elections.
Right.
So it's proven. We've long suspected this, but I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure everybody out there would go along with what I'm saying here, and that is that we just hoped that it was just us wearing tinfoil hats.
It's not. I mean, Lou Dobbs is reporting voter fraud in the millions.
Easily. We have
millions.
Yeah. I mean, it turns out it's a big part of their strategy. We were just thinking, you know what, there's probably some bad apples in every bunch, and there's probably some local, small-time, precinct-level Democrats who are doing this voter fraud.
Right.
I don't believe that at all. I think it's an institutionalized thing. I heard, this is a tinfoil hat thing that I was just like, oh, it's probably not that big of a deal. Now I think it's an absolute threat to the entire country. George Soros owns a lot of voting machines that do the actual tabulations. He owns them.
It's not hyperbole. It's not hype. It's not speculation. It's not any of that. It's fact.
Yeah, take the tinfoil hats off, people, because you don't need them anymore. All this stuff is real. All this crazy. We make fun of Alex Jones. Now, I will tell you something. Contrails are not real.
Contrails are real.
Yeah, they are real.
But they're not. It's not the government's way of thinning the human population out.
No, it's mind control.
Oh,
I don't know what it is. You know what?
George Norrie said it was to weed out the population.
I don't know. They're crazy.
It's like, when you've got weeds in your yard, you need to spray them with Roundup.
So it makes sense to people that don't know.
To groom the population.
But why aren't there trails down low? Why is it only way up high? Because they turn it on. Okay, this will be proof to you guys that contrails is a completely naturally occurring phenomenon that isn't dangerous or anything like that. Those contrails, the only way you would ever know there were jets up there in the sky at altitude,
at that high of an altitude, right,
is by seeing the contrails.
Which is because it looks like that white line of smoke.
Yeah, you see the white line.
Yeah.
You don't even see the plane. You have to squint your eyes and put on magnifying glass and or get the telescope out. Or you could if you have very good eyes, you can actually see the aircraft. And every once in a while, a glimmer of sunlight will actually bounce off the fuselage, and you can kind of see a little bit of a sparkle. But you wouldn't see the plane. Okay, very, very difficult. Very difficult to see the plane without contrails. Right. Well, guess what? Bombers in the military, we got an Air Force veteran sitting right next to me, they don't want these contrails.
They don't leave contrails, no.
And guess why not? A person like Alex Jones may say, oh, well,
they're not loaded. They're loaded with bombs. They're not loaded with chemicals.
Right. That's because they don't put the chemicals in the military ones.
Why would you do that?
They don't put them in.
Then the military would know and everybody would know.
The truth is that the military does put chemicals in their exhaust. You know why?
So as not to leave trails?
Yes! They have to get rid of the naturally occurring phenomenon called contrails. So they have to inject the atmosphere through the exhaust of the jet engine with chemicals to prevent that from happening so that when they're flying over their target, they don't get seen with all these contrails.
Can you imagine the enemy?
Without the contrails?
Hey, look, there he is.
Well, that chemical is kind of a new thing. So during World War II, when you'd have this giant mob of bombers, like he would have like I'll have to look it up. I know it's hundreds, but sometimes thousands of bombers, all in formation.
It would cover the sky.
It would look like a white cloud of death was coming to get you.
So maybe that would actually be a good thing to cover your appearance, and people would think, "Oh, it's a cloud."
No, it didn't look like. It looked like stripes across the sky.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord!
Like, what are those stripes coming at me in the sky? It looks like they're coming to bomb. Bunch of B-29s coming.
Right.
So anyway, I digress.
Right. So back to this entire
The tinfoil hat's off, guys. It's
right,
off.
because it is factual. And our caller, our special VIP caller, was supposed to call in about this. Hasn't called yet, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, George Soros and James Harris Simmons, Simons. You can check them on Wikipedia.
Okay.
They got bad stuff on them.
Oh, that caller. Yeah. What's with our caller?
Yeah, got me. So, anyways, they own James Harris Simmons was a hedge fund owner, and he's retired now. But he and George Soros both fund Priorities USA Actions, and that's the super PAC that WikiLeaks has now let us know that Hillary Clinton has been colluding with super PACs, which is now another federal crime she's broken as well, another one. But anyways, this James Harris Simmons character, he was investigated and he currently owes $6 billion because he had a scheme to where what he would do is to make short-term gains and hide them and make them look like long-term gains. Because apparently short-term gains, you're taxed on them much higher, much, much higher than long-term gains. And so he was making all kinds of money, hand over foot, just a criminal in general. But him, James Harris Simmons, and George Soros both head up Priorities USA. And they fund Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton has been colluding with them, which is illegal. Okay. Registering to vote, a.k.a. the ground game. And when you hear the ground game, that means they're cheating. That's a way to cheat.
We have a ground game with the Trump campaign.
These are the Republicans. This is the GOP.
Well, now
these are the Democrats when they say this. Hey, this is our ground game. Here's what we're doing. Okay, in the county, and our VIP caller is called Montgomery County, Ohio. In Montgomery County, here is how you register to vote. And here's the example. If you're a bum and you live on the street, go to a shelter for a night, hang out at the shelter, like the homeless shelter, and then you can easily, or even say that I am homeless, and you're not. I live at this shelter, and you don't. Either way, it doesn't matter. No ID required, no social security number required. You didn't ever have to be a voter ever, and you never had to show that you even have been a citizen in America. This is in Montgomery County, Ohio. All you have to do is just give them your name and your address of the homeless shelter. Make a copy, and this is the list of things that you have to prove to them of your address. You have to prove either a utility bill, your ID, your driver's license, government documents, or paycheck, or a government check.
Okay.
So if you ever received welfare,
Mm-hmm.
that's good enough. That's greenlit.
Okay.
That shows your address. And you're like, well, what if I didn't get welfare? And I brought up the notion, if you got arrested for vagrancy and you went to court and they sent you the court papers at the homeless shelter, that's proof positive you live there, and that's from a government entity, and that would work.
Okay.
Okay, so you take these three these three pieces of information, and you print off the application either on the website, and you can go to the library and do that for free, or you can get it from the local
Government office.
the local voting. Anyways, so you fill out this information, and at the bottom, it's all on the honor system. do you this, do you that, and are you convicted of a felony? Are you this, are you that? And you check it all the way down, and you say no, 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 given the right answers. And at the bottom, you sign it or make a mark.
That's for people that don't know how to write.
If you write the letter X at the bottom as your mark, or a check mark or a slash or a little squiggly do, it says if you leave a mark, just leave us the address of the person that saw you leave the mark.
Okay. I mean, that seems reasonable.
Okay. And so you send that in. She sent. Okay, so our VIP caller is in the car with no cell phone. Good times, folks. What is going on in this day and age? This is ridiculous. Okay, so you send all that paperwork in, and now, and when I say send it in, you drop it off at the local library, local high school.
If she's listening right now, we could botch the story up
so she can fix it.
So she'll be like, no, she'll freak out and say, I gotta call right away so I can fix this because they're messing it all up.
There you go. Okay, so you could drop this paperwork off at the library, high school, a vocational school, or the DMV or the BMV, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, anywhere, and they'll send it off and get you registered.
Okay.
Okay, now you're registered. Now you want to vote absentee.
Okay.
So you go on the Ohio website, and you do the exact same thing for absentee. You print out the application for absentee. Answer the questions honestly, saying that you really believe that you are this person.
Okay.
And
I identify as this person today.
Right. And if you live in a homeless shelter, there's a question about that says that if you believe that you will be back there at some point in time, you have belief in your mind you will go back there. Just go ahead. Yeah, you're good. Go ahead and use that. That's fine.
Use what?
That address of the homeless shelter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all right.
But what if you don't?
Just say you believe you will be back.
For what reason? Oh,
to pick up your mail.
No. But what if you don't?
Then you don't qualify for absentee ballot.
Oh, you only qualify if
you believe you'll be back.
But you have to go there to pick it up. Okay.
Anyway, so you take this application, leave your mark, and give that to the local library or whatever. Now, she called a county, a small county in Wooster, Ohio. Wooster, Ohio, according to the census in 2013, consists of about 26,000 people in the city of Wooster, Ohio. That's very important for later on. And the reason why she called Wooster, Ohio is because it's Amish country.
Oh.
And she's like, they'll probably pick up the phone because nobody was picking up any of the phones that she called around. And two, they'll probably be more honest because it's Amish country. So she called up there, and the lady picked up the phone and said, hey, how you doing? Says, this Judy? Yeah, this is Judy. Hi. Anyways, sorry. That's supposed to be funny. So she picked up the phone. She started talking to her. And she said she gave her the information that when she receives an absentee ballot, all she does is verifies that the person's registered.
Okay.
Which we already faked the registry.
Did we?
Yeah. We faked the registry with our either our welfare check or some type of information, some type of government information.
But how do we fake it if we get in a welfare check?
Well, you could be anybody. You could make up check, and it has to be a copy of it. It doesn't have to be the actual check.
So you could forge a copy.
Yes.
Okay.
All of this can be forged.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing.
Or
the whole thing is on the honor system.
Or you could have 100 homeless people living out of this one single shelter, and they all want to vote absentee.
Yeah, that could be pretty.
I mean, we could get in big numbers.
Right.
Okay. So we forged that. We forged the registry. And then she said, oh, yeah, all I do is just check if they're registered. If they're registered, we send it out. We don't call information. We don't check information. We don't cross-check. We don't check for felonies. We don't check for legality, whether they're even legally here in the country.
All she needs to know is that she's legally registered.
Correct. And this is what's going to make blood shoot out of your eyes and wherever. She told her that they have broken record number of absentee ballots.
Oh, no.
The town of how many?
26,000.
They've already sent out 8,000.
So
That's a third.
A third of the entire town is going to do absentee ballots.
There's 3 weeks left.
Do they actually live there? Don't they have to verify? What if they don't live in Worcester?
Well, they said they did.
So you just have to have an address there.
Just
Or
a homeless shelter.
Or live in a homeless shelter.
Right.
How many homeless people do they have? Which, by the way, considering the times, it wouldn't surprise me if they had a little bit higher number of homeless people than normal.
Something else I was able to do back in the day. You know how you get a P.O. box and people are like, no, you can't use a P.O. box for this or for that. It even says in the mail, it says no P.O. boxes accepted. Okay, that's fine. If you go down the street to like post office, etc., or the UPS store, and you get a mailbox there,
Right.
use their address, and for the box number, put apartment. Like if your box number is 328,
Yeah.
just put apartment 328
Does that work?
or suite 328.
And that works.
I did this for 10 years.
But I mean, what's the point? Because
The point is that you could have stuff sent to you like this to a P.O. box, and the government thinks it's an apartment.
especially since there's some places that refuse to send to P.O. boxes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like in Long Beach, out in California where I lived, there was a...
So if I want to live in L.A., I just have to pay for a P.O. box and call it a suite.
Go down to Long Beach, California, down in Long Beach.
I could still live in Cincinnati, but if I also want to live in L.A.
Go to 375 Redondo, Redondo. Go to that address. And at that address is a post office, etc's place.
Okay.
Request a mailbox. Mine was 258. And you get that mailbox number. On all my letterhead, on all the everything. I lived at 375 Redondo, suite, which means STE. Use STE, suite,
Okay.
258.
That's funny.
I even got... This is back days ago, so I can't get in trouble for this anymore. But when you fill out corporate documents,
Yeah.
you cannot. They say the only way that you can file corporate address is if you can stick a desk in it.
Oh, okay.
So you can't use a P.O. box because you can't stick a desk in it.
That's actually the law?
You
have to stick a desk in it.
You have to be able...
What if you get a little dollhouse desk?
It doesn't work. Oh, there you go.
I stuck a desk in it.
And I have intentions. No intentions to do fraud, and I have intentions to get a bigger desk.
I haven't said, look, don't make fun of the size of my desk.
No. How
Oh my
dare you?
gosh,
I'm
that's
desk
funny.
impaired. So I could get legal documents, corporate documents, sent to that address because it wasn't listed as a P.O. box.
It was listed as a suite.
A suite.
Or an apartment.
Apartment, right.
Oh, that's funny.
It works, folks. It works.
So we're able to forge documents that say that you were getting welfare.
Right. Yeah.
You put Mickey Mouse.
Or even... Oh.
Because you made copies.
That our VIP was telling me that was her idea. Oh, you could use your welfare check. I got one up for you, folks. And this is even easier. How stupid am I? If you have a corporation or a nonprofit or a super PAC, you can hire anybody and pay anybody anything with any address you want them to have.
Yeah, but they can only vote once.
Okay, I've got a apartment complex. Maybe you own an apartment complex.
Okay.
And I'm sure they've got friends that own, buildings and things like that. You have dozens of those apartment complexes, but it goes right to the office. And the lady at the office, when she sees it, she knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So she puts it aside.
Okay.
So you could do 100 of them plus.
And
and
are we
send
talking
them.
about fake people, or are we talking about using, stealing people's identities?
No. Fake people, fake build, real building, but fake people living there. There's nobody there.
So you make up a person, Mickey Mouse. You register them to vote using. You could get anybody's welfare check.
No, not even that. As a corporation, for Smyth Radio,
Mm-hmm.
I can type up the letterhead and print you a check.
Oh, because I'm an employee.
Right.
Okay, so I take the check.
And they're not calling me to even verify that you actually work here. They don't care.
So I don't even have to work for you.
No.
I just have to make a fake check.
Yes.
Send it in and say, this
Paycheck.
is where I live.
This is my paycheck. Right.
Yeah, paycheck.
It's all fake.
So it gets sent to this apartment that I don't even live in.
No. But we have friends who own that complex, and the mail will be sent to the front office, not to the actual apartment.
Right. So, okay, I'm Hillary Clinton. Brian, I know that you own a giant megaplex apartment complex.
Oh yeah, and
Okay.
I'm down. I'm with her.
So I need you to cut 10,000 checks.
Okay,
Paychecks.
fair enough.
Random names, no duplicates or anything like that.
Okay,
We're going to take those and we're going to send them out in individual applications
right,
for registration. We're going
Correct.
to register all those fake people to vote
correct,
because they all, quote, live in your apartment complex, even though they don't.
correct,
Because they're getting the address from the paycheck, right?
right.
Now, what if people that live in those apartments for real also register to vote? Will it not matter?
No, it just looks like everybody's living there.
Okay. So
you
we
got a lot of people living there.
Right. So we got 10,000 fake checks,
Right.
10,000 fake registrations
Right.
all in this apartment. As the mail comes in, you are responsible for paying like a receptionist
Right. To collect all that
to
stuff.
collect all that.
Right.
Assuming that now the mailman, he's going to want to put it in boxes, right?
Not if it's listed for, you could have it set up one way or another. It's just all about the way you have it set up.
All right, so you take this giant stack of 10,000 registrations. You then
Correct.
proceed to apply for an absentee ballot.
Correct.
So they go out 10,000 absentee ballots.
Now you got 10,000 absentee ballots in your hand.
And then you just start filling them out.
Correct.
Hillary Clinton, all the way down the line. Maybe Dems all the way down the line.
Send them out.
And he sent them out. And now, is there, what would there be suspicions ever be raised? Or would anybody question this? Is there any kind of an audit process?
No. Zero. None.
Oh, gosh.
None.
This is pretty scary.
Out of the time, this woman works for the Board of Elections here in Wooster, Ohio. She said, "Oh my God, we've got record turnout for absentee ballots.
Because some guy who owns a business or an apartment complex
received 8,000 of them.
Did they all come at the same time?
UPS and its truck showed up just with that mail.
I wonder how much more that 8,000 is than the usual. Is it like we usually get 900?
She said it's record numbers.
Right, but they could have had 7,000 last time. 4 years ago.
Well, she said usually it's around 800.
No, you're
I made that up. I have no idea. But the fact that she said it's record number, we have a situation at hand.
Yeah, we know
It's
that
critical.
rampant voter fraud.
It's critical. Lou Dobbs said there's 1 million voter frauds already.
I think that if Hillary wins, it's all over. There's not going to be any
if
audit.
Hillary steals it.
Right.
And we've been saying this for years. She needs to become president in order not to go to prison.
Right. Her life is on the line.
Right. Or Obama pardons her at the last minute. And he's at record. Did you hear about his record number pardons?
I did hear about it, but I don't even want to begin to think about who they are or how many it's been. It's always Democrats do not believe in the justice system unless
it's their system.
They say no justice, no peace. Whenever a cop, a randomly ethnic or non-ethnic cop, shoots a black guy, or somebody that might be construed as black.
Correct.
Or can be said as black by the media or whatever. So they're all about justice when it comes to that, but not with anything else, apparently. So the pardons happen and all that kind of stuff. But
no photo ID.
Yeah, this
no
voter fraud thing is really freaky.
No photo ID required. No Social Security. No.
Oh.
It looks like we've got a...
After we're done with the story... Oh, by the way, we have 5 minutes before we're on Your Voice.
Oh, my goodness. We got our special VIP caller on. And our caller, we have 5 minutes.
We could probably be 5 minutes late on Your Voice.
Are you there, caller?
I'm here.
Hello. How are you,
Hi.
Candy?
I'm good.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you okay.
Good. I just ran through the voter fraud just kind of briefly, like an overview.
Well, we went through it pretty thoroughly because I didn't understand it. So I started asking Brian for particulars. So how did you find out about all this stuff?
It was real easy. You just get on the computer, and I'm not a computer expert at all, but went to Montgomery County Board of Elections, and it was really easy to do.
Do you
follow it?
Do you have an AOL account?
We're making fun.
No.
I'm joking. No.
No, all right. It's very simple, and I would suggest that all of your listeners will go to Google, go to Montgomery County.
Oh, Montgomery
And then
County?
From there,
Okay. I
it'll
think you said Worcester
Montgomery
County.
County. This is an example. There's 88 counties in Ohio, so you probably could try this with all of them. But this is an example. You go to Google, go to Montgomery County, and then go register. And you'll come to their site, which is mcohio.org. Then register. Go down to register to vote. Then you get there and you go to registration form, voter registration form. And then it has fill out registration form. So you go into that, and it starts telling you what to do. And at first it sounds pretty, wow, this is, they want to know if I'm a citizen and everything. But that whole thing is on, like, the honor system. There's no check on that. It's just like, are you a citizen? Check here. Yes. Are you
As long
resident
as
of
you
the
say
state?
that
Oh,
you're
check.
legal and you're a citizen and that all your information's correct, and they'll threaten you with under penalty of law. But if you know that you're probably not going to get busted for it, kind of like in the case of somebody that works for Hillary Clinton, since there is no law when it comes to that could be a major problem.
Right. And Candy, real quick, I know when we talked earlier on the phone, you had brought up something about if you could show a welfare check or just a paycheck.
Yeah, well, I'll give you the rundown here. Like I'm saying, all those things that you think are really neat, they don't check on that. That's just a check, and there's kind of like on the honor system.
Right.
So basically,
I can
somebody who has no ID, no Social Security number, never voted before, doesn't have a permanent address, can register to vote. And once you're in, you're in. And from there, it's a matter of just following the absentee ballot.
And you're in for life. You're in for life for the most part, right? So,
well, all you need is to be in for this election, and then might as well forget it. This country's in for life.
That's true,
Right.
but they could have been
We're done.
They could have done voter fraud of this nature
For decades.
six elections
I'm
ago.
sure that I just looked into it just out of curiosity, and I was amazed at what I found. It says that registering by mail, this is a quote, Montgomery County Board of Elections, registering by mail in Montgomery County. If you register by mail and do not provide an Ohio driver's license, or you do not give the last 4 digits of your Social Security number, please enclose your application and a copy of one of the following. So here's somebody who they don't have a driver's license, they're not going to give you their Social Security even if they have one. They have to send in their application form with a copy of one of the following. And one of the following would be a copy of a government check that you received with your name on it within the last year.
Which
That's it.
something I came up with. I was just brainstorming. If I own a or if I start a corporation or a nonprofit or any kind of business, it's not hard to do. You can do it with $100. I can literally write checks, fake checks, like
to fake
employment
employees.
checks to fake employees.
Yeah, he could write 10,000 paychecks to 10,000 people that do not exist at all, and using
That's
those
correct.
checks, he could
probably
mail
could.
in order to
a copy of it. Mind you, it is not the original. It's a copy, which copies can be.
easily.
No.
Monkey
Obama's
with.
birth certificate, the copy was absolutely verified by E-Verify.
Well, don't get me going on that one. But here are the things you have to have a copy of. Now, notice it isn't and, it's or. You can have a copy of a utility bill that you got with your name on it within the last year, or a copy of a bank statement that you got within the last year, or a paycheck with your name on it that you received within the last year, or the government check that you received within the last year, or government documentation of some kind that has your name on it, and that would maybe include maybe a traffic ticket
It's something I thought about on that one too.
or an arrest.
Well-
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if you
Well,
go,
then,
arrest-
all right, then
an arrest takes
there's
a
more.
person.
There's more, okay? The residency requirements. You don't have to give them an address of a residence if you live in a shelter. If you are, quote, here you go, if you are, quote, an inhabitant of a shelter or other location in which you intend to return, you may use that shelter or location as your residential address.
that's
Okay.
yeah, that's mind-boggling.
And-
That's mind-boggling.
Okay, all right, and you have to sign this registration form, right?
Right.
Only one thing, you don't have to. It says signature or a mark, like an X. Now, if you don't sign it, but instead put an X, like a mark, all you have to do then is include the name and address of a person who witnessed the mark. with a
Well,
certain
you wouldn't do
current
that
date.
if you were trying to
And
make
it
a
could
bunch
be
of fake
anybody.
people.
It doesn't have, the so-called witness doesn't have to sign for it either. And that is sent in. Telephone number is optional. You don't have to give them that.
Well, it sounds
So
to
basically,
me,
what do you have to have? Nothing.
it sounds to
And
me
you can
like
register. And once you register, then you can get your absentee ballot.
so-
Really, without any much further delay.
But it sounds to me like
scrutiny
everything.
whatsoever.
It sounds to me like every single thing that you've said, all those facts, you don't even
It's all
need to.
it's all online.
Right,
I'm not
but-
making this up. This is
No,
on the
I'm not
Montgomery
saying that
County
you're
Board of
making it up.
Elections site.
But it sounds like all you need to do is utilize a couple of those little things and a little bit of deviancy, like Brian was just pointing out, that if Hillary Clinton had a friend who could start up a business that owns, or maybe not start up, maybe she has a friend that owns a giant apartment complex. All of a sudden, or maybe several, maybe a whole bunch of apartment complexes. Next thing you know, you could have a whole bunch of maybe anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 fake people that are all legally voting, as long as he's able to cut a check to those people through a fake
Right.
business or
There's
whatever.
The implications are vast of how you can cheat with this kind of a virtually no requirement to get that registration. And once you got the registration, you got it. And mind you, you can be a person who's never voted before.
There's a
A
story.
person who has no back, and then when you mail it in, get this, you can mail it in to a public high school or a vocational school or the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles or a public library, and then they will send it over to the Montgomery County Board of Elections.
Right.
And you don't have to be present; you're just mailing this in. There's no personal contact with anyone.
Wow, that's
You
the
don't
scary
have to have
part.
a telephone
That's
number.
scary.
You don't have to have a permanent address.
I can't think of the article, but there was an article written last election, and there were voter fraud to where it was in the hundreds of absentee ballots were sent to a single address.
Oh no, I do remember that
You
story.
remember that?
Yeah, that.
So how many times does that go by and nobody reports that?
Well,
I mean, these people are so emboldened.
There's precincts out there that have more votes cast than live in those precincts.
Right.
Yeah, that is a fact. That has happened. Not a whole lot. I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of precincts across the country, and there was like 2 of them that they were able to come up with where that phenomenon actually happened. But think about it. A lot less people actually vote than can vote. I think it's like 50% or something like that of people who are able to vote actually do.
Probably.
That leaves open the possibility for a Hillary Clinton to make up an additional 50% of the population out of thin air.
And Candy, didn't you say that that the lady that you spoke to in Worcester, Ohio, that she said sometimes we automatically just send out absentee ballots? Or what was that about? Do you remember?
No.
They just
I checked. Well, for one thing, I checked out all of the counties. I got all their numbers. When there's 88 counties in Ohio, and what happens is, I did talk to someone in that county about the Board of Elections there because I just chose it at random, and they said that they sent out 8,000 absentee ballots. That's the ballots, not the application for the ballot. The actual ballots, 8,000 this past week.
In 1 week?
Out of that, the people of the
that's
within
not
a few days,
right. That's not
ballots
right.
were sent
Somebody
out.
there's got to report that.
Well, they what are they going to report? I asked about a double check or a cross check
Suspicious
on it.
behavior?
And basically, if you are a registered voter in the counties, any of our counties in Ohio, basically, if you are a registered voter, and I just showed you how apparently easy it is in the other counties as well. I haven't checked out every single one of them.
Well, I hope you do because I'm going to report
and
this.
you can see it's very easy to do that. So, but once you have, I was told that once they have that registration, you're in. You're in. And all it's a matter of sending in a request for an application, you get the application and you mail that application into your board of registration
do you
in
plan?
the county. They check to see if you're a registered voter. If you are, bam, you get that ballot.
So do you
And
plan
then
on
you send
calling
your ballot
any other
You
counties?
send your ballot in whenever.
Do you
And
plan
there
on
you are voting.
there might be a delay here, Candy. You hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. Do you plan on calling other counties?
Yeah, I've got all their numbers. I can call all of them.
If you find out a trend, let me know and I'll report this up the chain.
Well, let me tell you something. The registration, I believe, has been closed. You can't register to vote now. All of this.
Well, no,
if
you find out
that it would already been done, and I'm telling you that this site that I'm telling you about, the
votes already
Montgomery County
cast.
Ohio.org,
So it's too late.
has this up there now. But if they get wind of this, they'll probably take it down.
Well, and
So,
they were reporting
if you want
this.
to see it, you better see it tonight.
Right, they were reporting this week that the early cast ballots in some of these swing states, Hillary's already up.
Yeah,
They're already reporting that Hillary is already up
Well,
in
that's-
swing states.
yeah.
Early ballot.
That's because Republicans vote the day
early
of.
ballot fraud.
Right. Well, we've got to get off. Is there anything else that we're missing? We're definitely going to follow up on you. On this.
I just suggest that your readers go see it for themselves on Montgomery County Ohio.org. That's mcohio.org. Go see it. It's up there. It's very easy to find. And you can see, if you read through the whole thing, that's the key. Read through everything, and you'll see the caveats where you end up, where you can, pretty much anybody can register to vote without any scrutiny. It appears without any scrutiny whatsoever that I know of.
Oh my gosh, that's
But
scary.
also, I would like to mention that one of the main ads, you'll see all these ads for Hillary on TV. A lot of them are being brought to you by Priorities USA Action. And the lead top donor to Priorities USA Action is George Soros.
Oh my gosh! So George Soros is funding all of her ads.
Yeah, and then you have the second person in line here for the funding Priorities USA Action, which puts on Hillary ads, is a person who is a big hedge fund manager. He founded Renaissance Technologies, if you want to look that up. And it's on Wikipedia. Just go to Wikipedia and put in James Harris Simmons, Simons, and it comes up all about him. Read it for yourself about how he, there was litigation against him about owing $6 billion in back taxes that he used the Renaissance Technologies to basically be a tax cheat, apparently. in my opinion, after reading that. Go there yourself. It's on Wikipedia. Put in James Harris Simmons, Simons, and it comes up all about him.
We
and
will
he's
do
one of
that.
the top donors to Hillary's ads.
Yeah, we're going to have to stay on this all the way to the last day. So, awesome, Candy. Well, thanks for the reporting, and we will be on this, and we'll have you on again to let us know if you found out anything new.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right,
Thank
see
you.
you later. Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are now working on
Where's the buttons
our...
I don't see any buttons.
We're working on our call-in to
I don't know how to work it.
Your Voice Radio.
Get it to a dial.
Oh, I thought you were...
I
Why
have
don't
no
you dial
idea.
it on your phone?
Oh, I guess I
We
could.
could argue here on the... Come on, man! What are we doing here?
I got a phone here.
I know.
Now he's fighting back the other way. We're going back and forth. It's like when you go in a narrow hallway and somebody's coming the other way.
And you're like, hey, how about you move over? And you say no. Hey, how about you move over? Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna see if they're. I haven't been listening, but we'll see what happens.
We'll get him to join him to the group here.
Good evening. You've got Smyth Radio on. All right.
Oh boy, I don't know if we're on or not. I don't hear anything.
Well, hit mute on your phone so they can't hear us,
Okay.
and we'll continue with our thing.
Okay.
Oh,
what's next on
Lord.
the-
So let me go down real quick. Why Hillary Clinton must lose this election. She's received $2 billion from banking investment firms, multinational corporations, oil corporations, foreign dictators, union bosses, special interest groups, ghost corporations, and $120 million for this current campaign. If you want to talk about being in with Wall Street, she is definitely in with Wall Street. Big money, big groups. Matter of fact, Bill Clinton had a scheduled speech early on during her campaign, a scheduled speech for Wall Street that they decided to go ahead and cancel because the optics didn't look right. It didn't look right during the campaign for us to go ahead and do a speech, a paid speech for hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars for Wall Street during the campaign cycle. It's atrocious. And I know WikiLeaks has come out with all kinds of scathing emails and articles that it's just been unbelievable. It's one after another. It's a barrage of emails that are dumped in the tune of thousands of emails almost every single night about Podesta's emails to Hillary Clinton, who is a top person in her campaign. And some of the WikiLeaks that have come out here recently is that the top 19. We have the top 19 WikiLeaks, and this is just from Breitbart.com. If you want to go to, I highly suggest going on your smartphone and downloading the Breitbart app. You get the Breitbart app, and you will have the advantage of having real news, real time, honestly. Not only that, but Breitbart will also report on other articles. They'll literally post the article and then comment on the article to kind of give you a little bit more insight to how crooked some of these folks are. So anyways, Breitbart did the top 19 WikiLeaks emails. And coming in, it's not ranked worst to best, but the number one, the first one is Hillary Clinton dreams of a world without borders and open trade. Almost sounds like the Beatles song, Imagine, which is the communist theme song.
Oh, absolutely.
So to have no borders and completely open trade with governments like China and whatever government, but specifically China, that cheats. They cheated everything. They fake. They inflate their money. They make their money look like it's worth more than what it really is. You never know what the government's doing. That government completely controls everything. They control the people. They control the corporations. So to have open trade with a communist regime is just absolute insanity. The only way to have fair and even trade is with other capitalist countries that the governments are held accountable by the people, i.e., former America. So this broke to this morning, actually. This one was breaking this morning. Apparently, there's an email where Hillary Clinton's campaign was caught attempting to cut a deal, quid pro quo, to the FBI.
Really?
They asked the FBI back and forth, hey, can you declassify change the classification of this email? And I know you guys, the FBI, I know you want the ability to travel to some of these other countries and have more FBI agents in certain areas that you're not allowed to have. We'll go ahead. We'll give that to you. We'll green light that project for y'all.
Oh, quid pro quo.
If you go ahead and reclassify these emails from Hillary Clinton. That's criminal. I've tried to do that with a cop.
Is that somehow, was it captured? I mean, how did you hear about that?
It's in the WikiLeaks emails.
Oh,
the exchange of emails back and forth.
Oh, no. That is terrible.
And apparently it didn't go through. The FBI didn't change the classifications, as far as we know. And the FBI didn't receive services rendered. So there wasn't... It didn't go through, but it was there, the attempt to collude with the FBI. Clinton courted business elites to support liberal agendas to beat back populism. So Hillary Clinton and their campaign wanted to get in bed with other businesses and the business elites, whether it be the George Soroses or the other folks that are up there with the billions of dollars that are willing to fund chaos and whatnot. And the agenda was to beat back populism. And don't think that's a bad thing. That's what we are now with Trump. It's all about nationalism,
and also,
it's about populism, it's all about...
I find it really, I don't know, hypocritical or ironic. I don't know which one would you categorize this in? That they talk about populism as it's so bad. Populism. That's actually the basis of democracy. Whatever's the most popular is what you should probably go to. And are they anti-democratic?
Hillary Clinton certainly is. She would love to see a world ruled by communism.
Or by she just wants
dictatorship.
To be yeah,
right. Either way.
You know, the thing about Obama and Hillary, I almost feel like they don't really want to run anything. They just want to have that spot. Right. They want to have the title. They want to be able to have a letterhead with their name on it.
Right.
That says President of the United States. They want to be able to go. They want to wake up in the morning, go to the Oval Office, go in there and kick their feet up and say, I'm the king of the world.
Now
That's all they care about.
Now close that closet. I don't want to see what Bill Clinton's doing in there again.
Right.
As the first lady.
Yeah. Bill Clinton as the first lady.
Some people have... Oh, speaking of that, Obama was giving speeches this week, and Obama is being attacked by protesters screaming Bill Clinton's rape. Bill Clinton is a rapist. And Obama completely disrupted Obama's speech via teleprompter, completely disrupted it. And he said, hey, buddy, go get your own
rally.
Yeah, go get your own rally.
If you want to do something, go do your own rally. Well,
caught him off guard, had to circle all the way back around to the beginning of his teleprompter. Somebody had to scroll back through.
They had to rewind it.
It's
like a reel-to-reel player.
So the definition by vocabulary.com of populism is a belief in the power of regular people And if you will, WikiLeaks has spilled that Hillary Clinton is becoming very angry.
That was a WikiLeaks definition?
No. That was by vocabulary.com.
Oh, okay.
But WikiLeaks says, one of the emails, they're talking back and forth, and Hillary Clinton is getting very angry with Americans, and she's beginning to hate everyday Americans. Quote.
Yeah, this is not for public consumption. This is what comes out of their mouth when they're actually telling the truth.
Oh, and hold on. And in their right, this is the definition: belief in the power of the regular people, and in their right to have control over their government rather than a small group of political insiders.
What the
or
hell's
wealthy
wrong
elite.
with that?
That's populism.
Is that exactly what we want?
She don't want that. She got to fight that back.
Well, it's not just her using the word populism. It's all the Democrats. I'm talking about little people, little voters that go onto Twitter and they spout their horribly wrong opinions and all that kind of stuff. They talk about populism as if it's a dirty word.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, I'm absolutely a populist.
And they want you to believe that people who are populist or nationalist, they want to try and link that to Nazism.
Oh, they love calling Trump supporters nationalists. We're like, yeah, we're nationalists, but what's your point? Oh, guess who else was a nationalist?
And I've got a list of 10, and number 7 will shock you.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh. So it blows your mind. It absolutely blows your mind because it's so dishonest and so devious and deceptive. Sure, Adolf Hitler was a nationalist, but there's a logical fallacy in play here that you can't, just because Hitler was doesn't mean that all nationalists are like Hitler. It's like a guilt by association fallacy.
Right.
So, oh my gosh.
No, absolute insanity. So Hillary Clinton is colluding with other businesses and elites to stamp out populism. Got to crush it everywhere we see it around the corners. Something else that came out this last week. It is a fact Hillary Clinton's campaign is coordinating with super PACs. It is a federal crime. It is absolutely illegal for her to do this, yet she's doing it. Clinton also admitted that she has a different public and private positions on Wall Street. How do you feel about that? That kind of tells it like who she is. She's got two opinions of Wall Street, one in public and one in private.
Okay, so this is not the first time I'm reporting on this. I can't remember if I said this last week or if I said this on the other shows, but this is like the textbook example of what lying is. If you look at the definition of lie, it's when you knowingly make a false statement. Well, if you're saying that you have one position to the public, and by the way, let's talk about this public and what's the other one? Public and private?
Private positions.
Okay. A position is kind of like a statement saying what you're doing. All right? Now, in private, there may be secret people, private people, insiders that are listening to you state what your position is. That would be a private statement or a private position. But also, it's also obvious when you stop and think about it that your private position is the one you're actually going to act on.
Right.
And it's the public position that is only rhetoric, right? It's not stated implicitly, but you can figure that out just by thinking about it logically. So if you're telling people that you're going to do something, and that's your public position on it, and then you're telling insiders, the people that you trust, people that trust you to tell them the truth, that you're going to do something that's different than what you told the people, you made a knowingly false statement to the people.
Correct.
That is the definition of lying.
Correct.
So I know that people are like, well, you know what? We want a liar as our president. This is literally what Democrats will say. Democrat voters, they'll say, look at Bill lie. He's so good at it. Look at it. He's the best. If there was a Super Bowl of lying, he would be the champion. Look at him go. That's what kind of guy I want. That's why I voted for him. There's nobody in the world that could lie better than him. And in their defense, one of the reasons why they want a liar so bad is because they know that this president of theirs is going to be going all over the world and trying to pull the wool over the eyes of leaders around the world.
Correct.
So it's important to have the best liar possible. This is their rationale for having a Bill Clinton and such a good liar and all that kind of stuff. So I have to defend them a little bit when it comes to wanting a liar. The problem is that a lot of the dealings, if not most of the dealings that the president's going to be doing, are going to involve policies that affect you more than anything else, personally. And if they're going to lie to you, then why would you buy into anything that they're saying at all?
Well, you wouldn't.
Unless you know that they're lying to the people that are voting that don't want communism. But you know that that's what it is. They agree with her private position.
Oh, right.
They're like, ha, listen to her say that she's going to offer free college. Oh, listen to her say that she's going to fix Obamacare. Oh, look at her say this. Look at her say that. But we know. You know why? Because we're all good little Eichmanns.
Oh, man.
That's right. It's not about what she says. They all know she's a communist.
Right.
And they learn in school what Karl Marx taught everybody in the Communist Manifesto. They know that Lenin was the greatest. And I'm not talking about John Lennon.
Right, no.
Well, actually, maybe,
it could be.
Okay,
could
they
be.
all know John Lennon is the greatest because he made the... If you want to know what communism's all about, what Marxism's all about, what progressivism's all about, they're all synonymous, all right? Don't let somebody... I got into a little bit of a debate on Twitter, and I feel bad because the guy that was telling me this, he's a Trump supporter, he's anti-Hillary, but he wanted to categorize all the different kinds of leftists. But you know what? When you learn as much as I've learned, when you read as much as I've read about it, when you observe as much as I've observed about it over the years, read Mark Levin's Leviathan. I'm sorry, not Leviathan, Ameritopia. He talks about Leviathan in it. Ameritopia by Mark Levin. He talks about all the different types of statists and all the different types of philosophers who believed in communism for the most part. All right. Plato's Republic. Do you know what the Republic was? It was Plato's idea of what a perfect society would be. And it was very oppressive. It had all these rules that limited people's freedoms. And then the Leviathan. That was also the same thing. And then there was, you know what Utopia is? It's a book written back in the Middle Ages. The name of the book was called Utopia, and it was named after the king, King Utopus. And guess what? It was a communist utopia.
Kind of sucked, huh?
And you go and you get all the way to Karl Marx, all the way to the 1800s, and guess what? When he wrote the Communist Manifesto, he basically tried to make all of those earlier works. He tried to put them all together, and he came up with a Communist Manifesto. And guess what? It's never worked in the past. It's never worked every single time it's tried. But here's the thing. Now, ever since the turn of the 20th century, communism has taken over the Department of Education in America, and all of our children have been slowly introduced to it. Early on, just a little bit here and there, all the way up until I would say the 70s and 80s. Just a little bit. They were just giving you some leftist bias. Hit the millennials are gone. I'm really sorry to say, and I could tell because I listened to them. They are gone. They are full-blown Marxists, and the reason is because things really changed in the Department of Education where they just went full-blown hate America, hate America's founding, and Marxism is great.
Catholic private school, kid 21 years old, talked to him a couple of weeks ago at a bar. and it was just appalling. How he said, "Oh yeah, capitalism and communism—they're not that different. They really aren't that different
It's
from
because
each
you
other."
don't know. You
Right?
don't know the
You don't
difference.
know. I know.
You think that they're the same because you have not learned the distinguishing characteristics.
Back in 2000 and maybe 99 or 2000, when I was in college, I had a professor. Well, she wasn't really a professor. She was kind of like a stand-in. But she got up there the first day and said, "Okay, I own 4, 5, 6 businesses. I do this and this and this. Just grandize it, just how great she is." I'm like, "Well, why are you teaching these classes, anyways?" And by the end of this semester, I'm going to show you how communism is really a good thing.
And you know what?
It's
That's
just been
very
taken
common.
out of context.
You're talking about this one teacher,
Yeah.
but this is what people have
I ran
experienced
from that. I literally, for the first week, her and I argued, literally back and forth, and she
she's
gets so
responsible.
angry.
She's responsible for your grade.
Oh yeah, I dropped the class.
You had to.
Yeah.
I did the same thing in English Composition 102 because I got through no problem in the first one, 101. Get to 102, and this lady was the queen of social justice warriors. And I would write something, and we had to write opinion pieces. And I
don't like your opinion.
Well, in English Composition 101, it was all about proper grammar, spelling, and you had to have all the different components of a good, interesting article. And so we would go through and that's all they cared about. You get to 102, and I made this beautiful first draft, no misspellings, all the grammar was good, sentence structure, the outline was there, everything had 3 main body paragraphs, beginning and conclusion, all the above. I get it back, and it's loaded with red marks. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I thought I did good on the spelling and the grammar, and I didn't think I made any logical errors. My support, which had
use
to be,
spell check.
No, back then, I don't know. It
Whoa.
was brand new, I think.
He's like, well, my word processing machine.
No, it was the ding, and then you had that yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So anyway, turns out all those red marks were every single point that she disagreed with. My points were supported because you could not ever write just an opinion and leave it at that. It had to be supported. You had to go to the library, and you had to support your opinion with facts from other publications.
And you had to find a book using the Dewey Decimal System.
You had to go. What was that thing called with the wooden drawers with the little cards in them?
Yeah, the Dewey Decimal System.
No, but there was a name for that giant monstrosity with all the little drawers in it. The cards.
I never used it. I don't know. I have no idea.
You're too young.
I've never. No. No, I'm admitting a fact. I never used it.
Oh, that fact. That fact. Okay. So anyway, I thought, man, all my points were supported. Did she not like the way I used the support? Because a lot of times, look, let me give you a little secret. I'm going to get off on a tangent here a little bit. All these books and articles that you read by leftists that are loaded with all kinds of studies in psychology and scientific studies, and then there's also support from other publications by people who have PhDs in all these different fields. It's incestuous. Card catalog. Thank you. Card catalog. Thank you very much for that. So all right. It's incestuous. These people give out PhDs like candy to those who toe the line.
You can buy it too. You can buy a
to the line.
PhD.
Well, what I'm saying is you have to pass muster to get your PhD, and that means you have to be a verified, trustworthy leftist. You have to toe the line.
Right.
Then they give you the proper paperwork to show them. It's like an ID card. This ID gives me it's a license. It's a license to use my opinion as support for your opinion pieces.
Right.
It's totally incestuous.
And the media will buy that. And
yeah, they'll say, "Ooh, man, this is a great article. Look how much support it's referenced. Look at all the references. You just referenced a guy who was given a PhD because he was towing the liberal line. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make here, though, is a lot of times you come up with a convoluted opinion, and you just find one other guy who may have wrote something similar to that, and you reference him, and now you're supported. And I would do that, and everybody would do that in their articles. So I thought that my very flimsy support system was under attack by her red pen. Well, it turns out...
She had a red pen.
Oh, it was red marked all up. Turns out she just didn't like my opinion because I had kind of a right-wing, a little bit of a right-wing lean. And I didn't even know it at the time, but I was starting to go that direction because I was starting to wise up. I had already gone through 4 years of the Marine Corps.
Right.
And I said, well, I don't agree with what you're disagreeing with me here. And we'd end up in an argument. Like, you're telling me that I'm wrong here. But the first question out of my mouth was, well, how am I wrong? You didn't say how I was wrong. Well, that's just not right. Well, what do you mean it's not right? How do I make it right? Well, first of all, you change that opinion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you have to deal with. And so here, this is the long way around to a huge point I want to make, Brian. This just blows my mind. So all these studies come out. Not studies, polls come out. Educated people with advanced degrees. I'm talking master's degree, PhDs, whatnot. Democrats always lead in that category. And guess how it's always reported and how it's always interpreted.
Oh, they're smart. They're smart.
Smart
Smartest.
people. If you were educated, and they all, by the way, they call them educated people. They call them educated. As if everybody that's not, they didn't land in this category, are uneducated, i.e. dumb.
Yeah, you don't have no papers.
You don't have the papeles.
No tienes papeles.
No me gusta papeles. How about that? All right, so anyway. So that's how it's reported. You're stupid, and smart people will always back the Democrat, will always back Hillary in this case because that's who we have. Turns out, this is the groundbreaking. Nobody ever reports this. Nobody has ever pointed this out.
No.
And that is that the reason the high educated, I'm talking master's degrees, and that's what's always in the category. They say
Masters and PhDs.
Advanced education.
Right.
Always support, always overwhelmingly by like 15 to 20 points, Democrat support or has a lead in that category. Because they've completed the gauntlet to weed out the right-wingers.
Yeah.
You can't.
The stupid ones.
You have to be peer reviewed.
Stupid ones.
You have to have your thesis peer reviewed and accepted by peers in order to get your PhD. Your thesis has to be palatable to leftists in order to get the papeles.
Once you got the papeles,
now all of a sudden they're asking you who do you well, if you were a right winger, you couldn't get the papeles.
no, you could not.
So when
papeles.
you see that educated, smart people with advanced degrees we gotta listen to them because they're so smart, they're so educated, they've never had a job in their life because they spent their entire early adulthood in college around morons.
Oh,
right?
it's just too much.
And when asked who they support, they've already weeded out the right-wingers. They're down to...
These are our newly arrived surgeons, Drs. Trowbridge and Greenbaum.
Doctor?
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 And doctor. Well, we miss anyone?
Oh, that's my favorite movie of all time. Do you have that here? As soon as this show's over, we're going down and watching.
I do have Spies Like Us. I do have it.
Yeah, that
I may
was
even.
with Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd.
Did you just say Chevy?
Is it Chevy?
Yeah, it's Chevy.
I call it Chevy because it's short for Chevrolet.
But in
And by the
Hollywood,
way-
oh God. In Hollywood, it's not Cheviot, and it's not Chevy. In Hollywood, there is a town spelled Cheviot, but they pronounce it Cheviot.
Oh my goodness.
Cheviot. And Chevy Chase name is Chevy.
That's BS. And
It's
you know
Hollywood.
Do you know how I know it's BS? Because I heard the story of how he got his name. His dad named him after the pickup.
So that really is his real name,
Yeah.
Chevy?
His dad named him after the pickup.
What a moron. He should have called him, because you got a weak name.
It makes
should have
me
been a
cringe
Ford.
every time I see a little girl with a daddy all tatted up and everything, and his daughter's name's Mercedes.
Mercedes.
It's like, come on. What is that?
Yeah.
I'm actually referring to somebody I know.
Yikes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so back to the list real quick. Did you hear this week that WikiLeaks shows that the Clinton campaign is trying to use executive privilege to not show any emails?
Well, isn't that kind of what he did with just about everything else? Oh, he did that with his college transcripts.
Right. Well, he has made it executive privilege to not view, or look at any of his emails. And you can't look at anything of a president for 12 years. After 12 years, that kind of fades away.
And that's when we find out that he was really Kenyan.
Muslim,
Right.
backed by the Ayatollah Khomeini.
Which is true, right?
Right. Funding to overthrow America from within. There was a fake article today that got me, trolled me hard. Apparently, somebody has hijacked ABC News.
Okay.
Some I don't know, hackers. They've hijacked and they're using the symbol illegally, ABC News, with fake news reports.
Okay.
And it said ABC News. I'm like, this has got to be real.
Okay. There's an abcnews.co.
I think that's it.
And it gets people all
That's
the
it.
time.
That got me.
It gets people all the time.
Obama, this picture right here is Obama signing an executive order banning the Pledge of Allegiance from all all schools.
It's such a hateful, hateful thing.
Well, but hold on. Why was I trolled?
Because you believed it.
Again, because it could almost be possible.
It's plausible.
So I read into the story, and it said he signs the executive order so that government entities cannot mandate that people recite this, which would include a school,
right?
The public school system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my god, this is plausible. So I'm on the Google,
absolutely,
and the first thing comes up is Snopes.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, Snopes. So I look into it. Snopes like, false. It's not true. It's abcnews.co, and they're liars.
They're funny though,
and I'm like, man, they got me.
They're so close to real.
Yes,
that's very close.
See, that's the only way they could pull it off is if they danced on the edge, but just a little bit too far.
You know what's funny that you say that now that I'm kind of brainstorming? So you believe that because you believe that that's what he really does want to do, and then when a report like that comes out, you're like, I knew he was trying to do that.
Well, and we know a school teacher who is not allowed to do that. We know a school teacher who said that they are not allowed to do that in their school. Nope.
Oh, right,
We're not saying Pledge Allegiance here. We're not doing that.
As far as I know, that's been stopped since like the 80s.
Right, but we have a friend of ours who is very patriotic.
Okay.
Because she has two brothers that were in the military and a cousin was in the military.
Okay.
And her grandfather was in the military.
All right.
So she's being patriotic and teaching it to her students. Now, you got to unteach that right now. Unring that bell. Unring it.
She told her not to do that.
Yeah, I believe
Must be that executive order. No, but here's what I was thinking though. This is what the mainstream media does to its listeners and viewers. I'm talking about the low information idiots that believe all the lies that they say. They just make it sound like what they thought was the truth anyway. And then that's it.
And they know they won't check it up. See, I checked it up. I went a step further.
Right. You don't want to look like an idiot.
And I had to go back to my wife and say, whoa. You know that article I showed you? That's that ABC News? Whoa. It's abc.co.
Right.
Fake.
What is CO? Is that Colorado? Is that...
didn't Ted Cruz steal Colorado?
Ted Cruz. Oh, right. Well, originally
Was that
somebody else won.
Was that the Colorado incident?
Oh, they didn't vote at all.
That's right.
They didn't. They just said, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and give this to Ted Cruz.
Right. Hey, something else the news media is not reporting on. They're not reporting on needy Latinos.
Huh? Is that a story?
Those Latinos, they're so needy.
Who said that?
Hillary Clinton.
She did?
Yes.
Is it on audio?
No, it's in the emails.
She said it in the email.
Yeah.
You know the Taco Bowl thing? When everybody was reporting that the Democrats, the DNC, were referring to Latinos as taco bowls. And you remember that, right?
Yes.
But I didn't read it that way. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to correct the record. If everybody wants to say that the DNC is calling Mexicans taco bowls, I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let it go. But if you read it in context, it sounds like they're just referring to that incident where on Cinco de Mayo,
right,
Trump was eating from a taco bowl. But they weren't calling Mexicans taco bowls. It could be construed that way, and I'm being very, very generous with them, but that's how I interpreted it. However, we don't have to lie about that or anybody or let other people lie about it anymore.
No.
Because now you're telling me
needy
that
Latinos.
she's calling Latinos needy.
Oh yeah. Needy Latinos. And by the way, if you go to Trump Towers, they only serve lunch. There's no dinner or breakfast. They only serve lunch. And yes, that's where you get the best taco bowl
That's
anywhere.
what he said. Yes. That is what he said.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So,
which of course isn't offensive. He just did nothing. All this fake, all the outrage that you hear on the media is so fake. It's not even. It's to the point now where people are just like, "Oh, here we go again."
I remember the airplane conversation heard round the world.
The airplane conversation?
Where Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch met up on an aircraft.
Oh, that's so bad.
Who was telling me this? Somebody, it might have been Rush.
I'm shocked that they allowed that to be captured.
I'll have to think about who it was that was saying this, but it was a very wealthy individual that has an aircraft, that has a plane. Probably might have been Rush. And he made the comment that I have flown into. No, it might have been Trump. It was Trump saying this at the Cincinnati convention.
Okay.
At the rally he had. He said, I have flown into many airports, and I've been on many tarmacs with my aircraft. Never have I ever been boarded by somebody else.
Okay.
I've never had a meeting on the tarmac in my aircraft where somebody came onto my aircraft to talk about our kids.
Oh, right. That's right. That's
Our
what
kids.
they claim they talked about. Oh, we just talked about our kids. That's right. That's interesting. I mean, that's an obvious statement, right?
Right, because if you're that wealthy, there are places at the airport for wealthy people.
Oh, I was there. I was at the private
to chill.
Yeah,
right.
I was at so I was in charge of driving the Trump entourage to the convention center, which was a lot of fun. If you follow me on Twitter, you will have seen a lot of those pictures.
And then the Periscope.
And so we have a very large airport because it's kind of a hub here in Cincinnati. And
it's one of the larger hubs for I think FedEx.
Okay.
Indianapolis, FedEx, UPS, Cincinnati.
Okay. So I always wondered, what do celebrities that come in, what do they do? I mean, you see those pictures in L.A. of very famous people walking right through the concourse.
Oh, yeah.
So I figured that that's just what happens. Well, in Cincinnati, they actually have a completely separate hangar and a tarmac where they taxi in on.
Right.
That's nowhere near anything else public. It's way on the other side of the runway. It's totally separate.
In Kentucky?
Yeah, Cincinnati. Right. Well,
a lot of people don't know. I've even had airline stewardess. I don't know what you call them nowadays.
Right.
I've had them. I've been on the aircraft in CVG, landing at CVG in Greater Cincinnati Airport.
Right.
And I looked at her and I said, you're in Kentucky. And she said, what?
She didn't know.
And I said, yeah.
Did you know how few people know what CVG stands for?
Really?
Almost nobody knows. It stands for Covington. That's it. Wow. It's in Covington, Kentucky.
Right, because it is.
It's right there.
Right.
But anyway, they got this huge hangar, and they also have a building where you sit and wait for your plane.
Okay.
And so everybody's just sitting there with the windows and everything like that. And you walk right on the tarmac, and you walk up the steps and get on the plane, or vice versa if you're coming off. And yeah, like who would go out there and not have a flight to get on somebody else's plane to talk to somebody and then come back off and use it as some sort of a portable office?
You don't ever.
Who does that?
Because you're on the plane so long, your number one instinct is to get off it.
Yeah. Stretch
your legs, get out in the open, fresh fuel-soaked air, so you can smell the jet fuel.
I can actually feel the globe warming.
Could you taste the jet fuel in the air?
No, it was no.
LAX is like that.
Although now you got
LAX is hard. Well, LAX is set in a basin where wind does not cross. There's no crosswind.
Oh, it's all just it's like a soup.
Oh yeah, definitely like a soup.
You could ladle it.
Unlike DWF, Dallas or DFW, Dallas Fort Worth.
Okay.
They claim that to be one of the worst airports to land in because of the crosswind.
Ooh, I could totally see that because Texas is pretty flat.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah, it's amazing.
Email show. Clinton colluding with State Department on emails. Dun, 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 dun.
What do you mean? You're going to have to elaborate. Cause I don't
know she was actually working with the State Department to try and, not do this email thing and work with it. I mean, she is everything that we've ever accused her of, she is actually done or currently is doing.
So it's all real?
Yes. It is absolutely, all of this is real.
Yikes.
Criminal beyond. She is more criminal, exponentially more criminal than Obama ever was before his election. Ever. Another one came out. Journalists secretly working as enthusiastic volunteers for Clinton Kaine 2016. So we have journalists now working as volunteers, enthusiastically volunteering. Also,
that would be like us,
right? Well, and you've got, but we're not liars, and we're not supporting.
Be honest out there, people.
We're not supporting a criminal enterprise.
I don't know. I would have to just bow out and say I am not going to support this anymore. If Trump had the kind of criminal accusations that have been substantiated to the tune of what we see out of Hillary Clinton, I just would be like, wow, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't want no part of this anymore. So we don't see that with Trump.
Right, no. Hillary Clinton got questions in advance for the debates with Bernie.
Which let me tell you something.
Go ahead. Yeah.
When these reports came out, we chuckled and said, ha, 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 look at these reports. But deep down inside, I felt like they're just they're throwing out accusations that I doubt they're true. That's what I honestly thought. I thought they're probably not true.
There's an article written and retracted and retitled. Because when I went back to the article, it said, this article has been retitled because of the misleading original title that our viewers got, and we are very sorry, so we've retitled it.
Was it damning against Clinton?
The original title was Bernie Sanders Paid Off.
I read that. The title made it sound like he received money. Yeah.
Don't you tell me he did. Journalist mouth. It was a journal drive, but what do they call that? An accidental incident of journalism?
Random act. Random act of journalism. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Planting the seeds of revolution in the middle-aged dictatorships of the Catholic Church. Okay, so she came out, and if you're Catholic and you still support Hillary, you're dumb as a box of rocks.
I talked to somebody on the ground the other day, knocking door to door.
Okay.
This lady said, "I'm Catholic, and there's all these Catholics that are friends." What do I say to them? What do I say to them? They all want to vote for Hillary, and they're never Trump.
You got to tell them
and
the
they're
truth.
Catholic.
Got to tell them the truth.
And I said, wait a minute. What about the life argument? They don't care. They don't care. I said,
they don't care about butchered babies?
They said they don't care. And she said, my friends that are Catholics don't care about that. And I said, you know what? I'm a new Catholic. And let me tell you something right now. If you're going down that road, you just walk away from the Catholic Church. Walk away from it because you don't belong there, period. I'm a new Catholic. I wasn't there for, 30 years of my life? I became a Catholic when I was like 30, okay? Let me tell you, so I'm kind of new at it, and there's a lot of things I still don't know, but there's one thing I do know. The hypocrites in the Catholic Church are giving the entire Catholic Church such a bad name that it disgusts me, and I haven't even grown up in it. It absolutely disgusts me. You should get out, and your priest should tell you to get out. And if your priest, like the Pope, let me tell you,
this Pope is a nut job.
There are lifelong Catholics that as many different ways as they sin or endorse sinning, such as allowing abortions, right? They will not disagree with or unendorse anything that the Pope says if they're lifelong Catholics.
I talked to one, and we both know her.
I told her, I said, I'm a new Catholic, and you know what? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
I made the comment. I said, this Pope is an absolute whack job in his stance with Muslims, Islam, all the things. And all her response was, yeah, I know. That was it.
Yeah,
Conversation dead. Conversation dead.
I've yet to find a lifelong Catholic who will stand up and disagree with some of the things that their own Pope has said. It's weird. It's like, well...
We have to disavow this Pope. This guy is literally...
As a new Catholic...
Gone off the rails.
I have no problem saying, this isn't Catholicism. Don't tell me that because he's the Pope, whatever he says is Catholicism.
Well, he was the one that was saying that we need to bring in more immigrants, more illegal Syrians.
Well, he thinks that it should be open borders across the board.
Except for the walls in the Vatican, which are 500 feet high.
They're so high, it looks ridiculous.
Oh, they're unscalable.
Yeah, you'd be tired before you got to the top. You'd be like, oh, I'm so close, but I have no more energy.
Tom Cruise would be like, yeah... Okay, let's pick a building, not this.
Let's pick something
to do
else.
Another movie. Yeah,
right. So,
remember the movie or the documentary that came out, Clinton Cash?
Yes, and I still have yet to see it.
By the book, Clinton Cash.
Brian's seen it though.
From Breitbart.com. Damn lies, and more damn lies.
And statistics.
Clinton Cash destroyed documentary numbers. I mean, millions of people watched it on the YouTube within days of its release.
Awesome.
It was phenomenal. At first, it looked like they were going to release it and roll it out and make you pay for it. But then eventually Breitbart said, you know what?
Everybody needs to see this.
Free.
Yeah.
Free. Watch it now. Free. Download it now. I've got it downloaded. Free.
If I had to pay for it, though, I might have actually went and watched it.
Right.
There's a weird phenomenon there. When it's free, you're like, I'll get it. I could get it any time.
I haven't watched it a second time because I've got it on my hard drive.
Right.
It's free.
But if you had to go out and pay $1 for it.
Because I watched it when it was watch now for the next 4 hours will be available. For 4 hours only.
That's it.
You can watch it for 4 hours. And so I downloaded it immediately while watching it.
Okay.
And I haven't gone back. I'll go back with you.
I do. I need to see it. There's documentaries out there that I've seen so many times it's sick. Fog of War, I must have seen that at least 15 times, which is the McNamara.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Robert S. McNamara, which is, if you want to know anything about the Cold War, two 3 things you got to see. If you see these 3 things, you will know everything you will ever hope to ever want to know about the Cold War. The first one is 13 Days, the movie. The second one is the Fog of War documentary. And the third one is the 15-part series on the BBC of the Cold War. It's like 15 one-hour episodes. I'm sorry, 25. Did I say 15?
Wow. Yeah,
I meant 25. 25 one-hour episodes. You watch all 25 of those, and it'll take you a couple days. There will be no detail left out that you will not have heard or known about. It starts. The Cold War documentary starts in the Russian Revolution and right around World War I. And it talks about how it all got founded in Russia, and Russia turned into the Soviet Union. You had Lenin, and how World War I broke out, and it goes all the way through till the wall comes down.
Today is the 16th of October. Breitbart just drops another bomb.
Uh-oh. We got breaking?
WikiLeaks dropped some more emails. Breitbart went through them.
Okay.
Remember the San Bernardino?
Oh, yeah.
Terrorist attack?
The mother and, not mother, it was a wife and husband was behind it. Yeah.
As part of Sunday's new WikiLeaks drop, this is by Breitbart.com. I said earlier on the show, go to your app store and download Breitbart, BREITBART. You will have great news. This is the only news you need to see. Breitbart and Drudge, the only 2 news outlets you need to see. Okay. WikiLeaks dropped an email chain shows that immediately upon receiving the news that the gunman responsible for the San Bernardino terrorist shooting that left 14 people dead, 22 injured, had an Islamic name because he was doing his good deed according to Allah and the Quran.
It was waging jihad.
Waging jihad, because that's what you're told to do as a good little...
It's a terrorist attack.
Right,
Islamic
good little jihadist.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Top Clinton officials were unhappy, and Clinton chairman, John Podesta, suggested it would be better if a person with an American name had done the shooting.
It would be better?
If it was a person with an American name.
So that they could say it was a right-winger?
They didn't finish up the sentence, but I am absolutely sure that that's what they wanted to do.
Because, so they're, what are they, are they on the same side as Islam? I'm not really sure what if it was somebody that didn't have an Islamic name, but turns out they were like a Democrat operative? Or something like that.
Karen Finley, spokesman for the Clinton presidential campaign.
Hard to believe, but we're leading the world in oil and natural gas production. That means lower energy costs, more growth, more security.
Wow. Oh, my God.
And more opportunity. We just need the right policy.
What is going on?
That's the only problem with Breitbart on the computer with a PC.
I was going to say, I'm on a Mac, and there is no Force ad here.
Okay, so Karen Finley, spokesperson for the Clinton campaign and former MSNBC host, wrote in response to John Podesta, damn.
Damn?
Yeah, damn. John Podesta then wrote, better if a guy named Fasid Falk was reporting that a guy named Christopher Hayes was the shooter.
What the hell? What is wrong with these people? Why would you even need to write that?
Breitbart News has reached out to Podesta via Twitter asking why this would be better.
When it comes to death and destruction, there's always better. What is he talking about? This is ridiculous.
Okay, the name of the shooter was Saeed Farouk.
Yeah.
That was his name.
That. Yeah.
That was the shooter. And Podesta says, better if a guy named Saeed Farouk was the reporter.
Yeah, he was reporting on it.
That the guy named Christopher Hayes was the shooter.
But why even say that?
Why go down that road? Why go down that road?
I was bouncing a 30-second. What are those things called? An elevator pitch?
Oh, yeah.
So I was bouncing a 30-second elevator pitch to Donald Trump off of a friend of mine, asking her what she thought of it. And she said, you probably don't need to state the obvious. Because there was a sentence, like one sentence in my entire 30-second paragraph that included, it was a sentence that was pretty much stating the obvious.
Right.
And she said, you probably could leave that out. Well, if he believes that, and for him to state it, he probably believes whoever reads it's going to be like, yeah, that's true. Why even waste your breath on that? It's just like you're just typing to hear yourself type.
Well, do not think for 1 second these people aren't like that, though. Self-absorbed, self-grandizing.
I guess it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so.
Or he thought he was trying to be funny.
No, I mean, to me, it sounds like he's stating something that's the obvious. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking that it hurts us when Islamic terror happens on U.S. soil, and we can't sugarcoat it when the guy's name is Farouk Faraz or whatever his name is, Saeed Farouk.
Yep, Saeed Farouk. Right?
We can't sugarcoat that. But if his name was Chris Hayes, then we could blame it on the other network. Since Chris Hayes was he a CNN guy or MSNBC? Chris Hayes is the guy that's actually Who
is Christopher Hayes?
He's the guy.
Oh,
no, he's the guy that's Rachel Maddow in drag. That's who Chris Hayes is.
So Rachel Maddow's twin sister.
When Chris does drag, he can go on the set as Rachel Maddow. I mean, they've never been seen in the same place before, so it's pretty clear.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Was that? Am I right or am I
yes.
right? Yeah. It's Rachel Maddow.
So why would he? Oh, because Chris Hayes reported on the shooter,
and they said it would be better if it was flipped.
Flip it.
Yeah.
No, you would not need to name that.
Speaking of Democrat terrorists, did you see the other breaking news on Breitbart? Quote, Nazi Republicans leave town or else. That's what vandals wrote when they threw firebombs into the North Carolina GOP office. The North Carolina GOP director said, quote, we will not be deterred by this hate crime. Good for you.
Bring more of the hate crime. The more that hate crimes happen like this, the worse it is for you Democrats. I'm telling you right now. America will not put up with lawlessness. Our friend out of Charlotte, North Carolina, what was he saying about the fake 75% of the rioters were shipped in for that fake riot?
70+% of everybody arrested in the riots in Raleigh? I think it was Raleigh, North Carolina.
Right, okay.
Was it Charlotte or Raleigh? Whichever one it was. We're out of state. They didn't even live. And by the way, the location of the riots in North Carolina, it's not like it was on the border. Cincinnati's on the border of 2 other states. So it would not surprise me if there was a riot in Cincinnati and, okay, it was a Charlotte, okay. And a portion of them were from Indiana. And a portion of them were from Kentucky. But it turns out...
The police say...
Yeah, the police say that 75% arrested were from out of state. So it would be like if there was riots in Columbus and people from Pennsylvania and Michigan and Tennessee were being arrested in Columbus, which, by the way, Columbus is in the dead center of the state.
We would all be shaking our heads because you do not see those people in Ohio. Not normally.
No.
You don't see people from Michigan and Pennsylvania and Ohio. Not often.
Well, not in the middle of Ohio. Like in Cincinnati, you'll run into people that, oh, yeah, I live in Indiana. Oh, I live in Kentucky.
Because we're in the tri-state.
We're right there.
You literally could walk
at
some point in time
from
Ohio to Indiana.
Indiana. From Ohio.
Like Jerry Springer did back in the...
Did he? I don't know.
When he was mayor of Cincinnati.
Oh, Jerry Springer. I was thinking Jerry Seinfeld.
Because the jokes for it was that in this prostitution ring. Oh, it was in Kentucky. Sorry, he was defecating. He was defecating. Yeah, He had a prostitution ring, and he's a Democrat, by the way.
Yes, he's absolutely a Democrat.
He had a prostitution ring so that when highfalutin people would fly into town, he could hook them up with a girl.
Oh, my gosh.
And he was notorious, he was known to write checks that would bounce to these girls, their paycheck. So the one girl was sick and tired of it. She came out.
She said,
I'm a prostitute, and he bounced a check to me.
Oh, no.
And so the media reported it as one single incident. And
it was isolated.
It was isolated incident.
Isolated incident. Yeah. We don't know if this girl was just alleging.
She's from another. She's out of town.
By the way, did you hear what Tim Kaine said on Meet the Depressed this morning? He said that Russia, all those. Russia is completely behind the WikiLeaks. All of them.
He can see Russia from Virginia,
something like that. So Putin is ordering Russian officials to hack into DNC servers, right? And once they get into these servers, and he tried to claim that there's evidence that Russia's behind this, which, by the way, that's not true. And the idiot John Dickerson, who's supposed to be calling him out on these things, and at least asking him, what do you mean? Where's your proof? Where's your evidence? Just let him say it. Anyway, the meddling with the election and all this kind of stuff is what Tim Kaine was saying, and that Russia's behind it. And here's the key, that all this information that's coming out, he's the only one that said this. Nobody else is coming out and say this. All these WikiLeaks, they could be altered. Somebody could make up something and say this was part of the hack. So all this stuff that you're reading on WikiLeaks may not be the exact word for word. Maybe
somebody changed. Somebody altered the words.
Yeah, they could say, yes, we hacked, and here it is.
Well, here's the problem with that analogy, because he's dumb, is that when WikiLeaks receives a batch of information from the hackers, it all has to be sorted through.
Okay.
So the only ones who would change or alter the words would be WikiLeaks.
Right. He's alleging that.
Okay, but WikiLeaks doing that, I guess they could do that, but they're so, their nose is so high in the air that if it rained, they would drown. They would waterboard themselves. Mr. Julian Assange.
Yeah, don't think that he's just some random Trump supporter.
He's not.
He doesn't care about America. He doesn't care about the GOP. He doesn't care about Trump.
He doesn't like Trump. He hates Trump.
When asked why things don't come out about Trump, he said because he doesn't have any secrets.
Well, he put it bluntly, just listen to his mouth.
Yeah, he said,
just listen to it.
He has diarrhea of the mouth.
Right.
If you want to know what you need to know about Trump, you just have to listen to him. You don't need to hack him.
So he's a highfalutin Englishman who is hiding out in
some embassy,
Haitian embassy, one of the embassies, because if he steps out of the embassy hotel,
they're going to drone him. No, Hillary
just did say we need to drone him.
Yeah.
Well, he'll be arrested and extradited to the country that is wanting him for underage rape.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, so
allegedly.
So I guess they could, but they can prove, WikiLeaks can prove that they didn't alter the documents by having the original documents.
You know what Tim Kaine will say? Well, no, when Russia hacked them, they altered it, then sent it to Julian Assange. That's what they're trying to say. Which, by the way,
you can prove that. You can show that with forensic.
What is the obsession with Russia?
I got it.
Please explain this to me.
First off, there's a little bit of projection in here.
Okay.
A little bit of projection. And I think it's dumb for the Clintons to do this because they were actually the ones who have the ties with Russia.
Okay. Which, by the way, we've talked about.
Uranium One.
As a Cold War expert, we have exhaustively talked about our opinion on this whole Russia-America relationship.
Right. And it's so sad that it's gone so bad. It didn't have to go this way. Okay, so I believe that there is a little bit of projection with the Russians. I'm with the Clintons because she was in bed with the Russians at one point in time.
She tried to be.
Right. Now she needs to
They didn't want her.
like those tree trunks got to go.
They said, "Bam, Bill, now I know what the problem is."
I know what the problem is. I don't choose Hillary. I choose other women over Hillary. You should too.
Yeah, that was
the meme.
Yeah.
So there's that projection, and she wants to put that off on Trump. Apparently, early on in Trump's campaign, there was one of the yikes.
Sorry about that, folks.
One of the guys working in Trump's campaign worked over in Russia, in that area, doing business, but did not do anything with the Russian government. So the Clintons thought that it would be a good smear tactic to link Trump to the Russians. And because the Russians are aggressive and the Russians are also fighting.
There's Ukraine and Crimea and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, the Russians are with Syria.
Oh, when you talk about relationships with
Russians are with Syria,
Middle East,
right?
Yeah,
Russians are with Syria.
Assad, in particular,
yeah,
the president of Syria,
right? And the president of Syria is attacking the opposition to his government, the rebels, and the ISIS,
right?
And the WikiLeaks show, and we all knew this.
Yeah, we know this.
Hillary Clinton and Obama are funding ISIS and the rebels
to try to overthrow Assad,
right? And Putin, and to deter and throw Putin off the trail of this whole thing. So they see Putin as the enemy. And they see an opportunity to link Trump to Putin when Trump says, "Hey, Putin, why don't you go find Hillary's emails for us?" Which was a joke.
We need to find the soundbite because they're lying about. By the way, Tim Kaine,
how he said it and what he said.
Yeah,
they are lying about. They are lying about. Yes,
no, flat out. Tim Kaine said on Meet the Press this morning that Donald Trump said, "Hey, Putin, can you please hook us up by going and hacking into the DNC and Hillary's emails for us to help us out?" That's what Tim Kaine said. But Donald Trump didn't say that at all.
He said, who knows who's hacking these? It could be the Russians. It could be Romanians. It could be anybody.
He jokingly said about hacking to get the 33,000
right,
emails.
And I'm sure somebody's got the 33,000 emails. So, hey, Russia, if you got them, let us see them. Something to that effect. But it was all it was certainly a joke. But so the Clintons take that opportunity to link, and you got to also think about their mindset too. The Clintons were very much alive and involved during the Cold War, during the 80s and the run up. They were adults and they saw it all, and they saw America's opinion of the Russians, which were never positive during the 80s, early 90s. So why not attach Trump? And they lied about him, said they had businesses over there. Attach Trump to Russia, attach Trump to the hacks. So Trump is involved with Russia and the hacks and the WikiLeaks. So Trump is all evil and all bad and all it's no good. That's why they're doing this, because that's what it was. The Ecuadorian embassy, Ecuador, the embassy for Ecuador. Sorry about that, Haiti. I had Haiti on the brain because of Hillary Clinton and the Russia.
Right.
Hillary Clinton and
they robbed them blind.
Yeah, and that cell phone company. What a bunch of knuckleheads. Enjoyed the Periscope. Hey, thanks, Deanna. I appreciate that. We had a lot of fun with the Periscope down there at the Cincinnati rally. Let me run through real quick and finish up these last few WikiLeaks things. WikiLeaks shows that she did flip-flop on TPP, on trade. Gun control, cherry-picked data, and executive orders. So she's going to use executive orders to do what she can to curb or to put more gun control on guns in America. And she does cherry-pick the information that the government, the data that the government receives of guns, gun violence, so as to make her point look good it's still more lies, more liars. Special favors, friends of Bill Clinton in Haiti. We know all about that. That was just an absolute debacle. By the way, the media will not show you the Haitians that are protesting around the country at Clinton offices, especially in New York. There's hundreds of them there.
Oh, yeah.
Won't show that.
Big city.
Clinton wanted to run again. Oh, this is something else. The Clinton camp, they were sitting around, hey, out of all 17 GOP, this is way back early on, a year and a half ago, out of all 17 candidates for the GOP, who do you think the Clinton camp said was the best one they could destroy and beat?
I think they said Trump.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, I remember them saying that. Or at least it was reported. It was kind of, they were trying to make it a secret, but it was almost, I know what it was. Some of the candidates on the GOP side, your Cruzes and your Rubios, were saying that they knew that Hillary wanted Trump to be the nominee. And they were trying to use that against Trump. Like, hey, guys, Hillary wants him to win. The media wants him to win. You know, there was kind of some truth behind that the media just showered Trump with love early on. Showered him with love, and they say, you watch. They're going to do an about face on this and all this coverage and all this positive.
And they did.
It's going to end. But it didn't happen right away. They still loved him for a while after he became the nominee. It wasn't until I think they truly believed that it was all a big joke, and he was either going to drop out voluntarily or he was going to lose spectacularly. It's only been for the past 2 weeks or maybe 1 week, that they just have gone full jihad style now on.
Top two that they were afraid of.
I would say Jeb Bush.
Nope.
Rubio?
Nope.
It can't be Cruz. I know that.
Yep.
What?
In the emails, they said Ted Cruz, and the second one, Ben Carson.
Ooh, I would say Ben Carson could be dangerous.
And you know why?
Well, because
they're racist.
Yeah, well, true.
All the racism, they couldn't use racism against Ben Carson.
Right.
Like they could against Trump, Cruz. They're like, oh, black man? Oh, dang, damn it. We can't call him a racist. We need a whitey. We need a white old man. So we call him a racist.
Yeah, speaking of racist, there's this new thing that the Trump campaign's doing. They're doing an Indian American outreach. And by Indian American, I mean from India. Not Indian like Native American, but more like, right. So apparently some Ohio GOP representative said that I just knew. This is a GOP guy that is now for Hillary. So all you Ohio guys out there, if you're listening, the Ohio GOP is for Hillary now. And one of the guys just happens to be an Indian American. And he goes on Twitter, I just knew it's a matter of time before he offended my people.
What did he talk about What did he talk about the Indians?
Oh, I don't even know because I tried to search the tweet, and I don't know who tweeted what about anything. But I do know that the Trump campaign is attempting some sort of Indian American outreach. So, but anyway, here's the point. My people, I took offense to that brand of racism. And
that's kind of racist. That's kind of racist.
Anytime you talk about my people, you're just stoking the fires of divide. So,
because we're all one person. We're all Americans.
We're all one person.
Well, they do get special treatment than people.
With those people?
Those people get special treatment. They get free college for life.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about Indian American.
Oh, I keep slipping on it.
Yeah,
you're talking about
no.
The ones that have the red dots on their head.
I guess I don't know if all of them do.
Like Buddhists, like they wear orange jackets.
I know some of the women do.
Okay,
I don't think any of the men do, or if they do, apologize.
Foreign government donors. All the money's in.
Oh, yeah. Talk about this. Did you see that email? What are you looking for? No?
The email.
He's looking for the email. Okay, so an email came out urging a Hillary campaign person to go ahead and take the foreign money, even though we know it's illegal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is from WikiLeaks. Come to find out, they were worried. They were actually worried about all the foreign money she's taking.
Oh, no, I did see that. They were going back and forth, and one of the staffers, one of the people on he was mad about it.
Right.
He was really upset that the Clinton camp would go down that road, and he's like, man, this is going to be the undoing of them.
Right, and then they came out later and said, no, go ahead and take all the money. Oh, I think I have it right here. Okay, here we go. Here's the email. The email starts, it's titled, Take the Money, with not one, but 2 exclamation points.
Oh, that means for real, for real.
That means we're excited about it.
Right.
Do it for real and be excited about it. So here's how the email goes. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because this is tiny. Okay. So this is from a man named Chang, I think. Let's see. Okay, on April...
4chan?
No, the guy's name. C-H-E-N-G, I think it's his last name.
Oh, Chen.
So on April 16th, Robbie Mook. Okay.
He is the Clinton campaign's head leader. He's the leader of the campaign.
Okay, so he
head
said...
spokesman.
Mark made a convincing case to me this morning, that these sorts of restrictions don't really get you anything. That Obama actually got judged more harshly as a result. He convinced me. So, in a complete U-turn, I am okay just taking the money and dealing with the attacks. Are you guys okay with this? And so earlier, this is a response to, we really need to make a policy decision on this very soon, whether we are allowing those lobbyists on behalf of foreign governments to raise money for the campaign or case by case. Dennis Chang, C-H-E-N-G, he's the National Finance Director for Hillary of America. They're really worried about it and they need to make a policy decision. Mook responded to it by saying, take the money. He acknowledges that it is probably unethical at the very least, probably illegal at worst, but that it's better to take the money and deal with the consequences for it later than to not take it, because when Obama didn't take it, he was judged more harshly anyway. So let's just go ahead and take the money. We're
going to take the heat no matter what. Good, right, or wrong.
So take the money.
Take the money, because once she's president, it don't make no never mind.
Right.
It's all executive privilege. If she becomes president, everything she's ever done will be sealed and locked in a vault.
Well,
the only way we'll ever be able to get any of this is by hackers.
Or wait 80 years until it's released. You know, it's funny when JFK, he was president during the Cuban Missile Crisis, all kinds of secret stuff going on during that time. And I think it was like the 90s or the 2000s, probably the 2000s. All these documentaries started coming out about it, based on classified documents that were now allowed to be released. So there's like this giant time frame where once you get to the deadline for secret stuff coming out, then it becomes like a big document dump, and all these documentary people will make movies based on these new secret and that's what happened.
Right.
And so with Hillary, we'll find out just how evil she is.
When you and I are old grand. Oh, that far gone.
Yeah, it'll be like 50 years. Yeah, our kids will be old.
Oh, that 50. I'm like 50 years. That's not that.
2000s is when they came out with the stuff from the 60s. So it's like 40 years.
Wow.
So we'll be. Oh, we might still be alive.
Well, if you could live to 100.
No, in 40 years we'll be 85.
So wow, that's pretty old there, man. So the Clinton Foundation audit reveals it may have misled the IRS.
Oh no! Say it's not so. Because
one of the perks
that's not what I was told.
One of the perks of Clintonhood is that you can file taxes incorrectly, suffer no penalties whatsoever, and refile the paperwork years and years later.
Okay. Oh, you mean you were supposed to file it way back?
Right.
Okay.
Or you filed it incorrectly so bad you'd face penalties,
right.
Meaning you filed and said you didn't owe anything.
Oh, I don't know nothing.
And they're like, you owe millions.
I
They're
don't
like,
make nothing.
oh, my bad.
I didn't make nothing.
I didn't make none.
Prove that I did.
You got to prove it first, otherwise it didn't happen.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
Lord. So let's get to, I've got a couple of...
Oh, yeah, you got sound bites?
couple of sound bites.
You look like you got a big lineup there. We got 10, 15... No, we got 30 minutes. 30 minutes left.
I'm just going to... This sound bite, I ran into a guy named Sargon of Akkard.
Is that
Sargon of Akkard. You can find him on Twitter, at Sargon of Akkard. So, anyways, he's a guy on the internet who makes videos. Does kind of what we do, but in video format.
Okay.
So he made on his YouTube page, it has the headline video. When you go to the YouTube page, that's the number one video. That's like the about video of who I am and what I am.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the reason why I want to play this is because this will illustrate to you what the left on the internet is attempting to do to people like us. So the very first minute and a half of this clip are video responses to him by lefties. So listen to this real quick. Okay, let's get this going. All right. So as we get ready to do this,
what kind of delay is that?
I've got a.
Oh wow, Mr. Producer.
This guy, Sargon of Akkard.
Sargon of Akkard.
Sargon of Akkard.
Sargon of Akkard.
Now, if you're not familiar with Sargon
of Akkard instructs his cult following on what to do.
He, in his misogyny, can't accept this idea.
Imagine what Thunderfoot was like in his teens, what he would have been like, and you've kind of got a very good idea of what Sargon of Akkard is like.
Sargon's not interested in reflecting on his views.
In addition to being a coward,
He did an entire series on Puros of Eperos that is, needless to say, riddled with inaccuracies, inability to understand historical context, and inability to understand the greater picture.
We're talking internet misogynist with views bordering on the disturbing, quite frankly, views that are flat out disturbing.
Sargon directs harassment campaigns.
This is his life, alright? This is his job. His livelihood depends on the hate and vitriol he pours out all over the internet. I got him basically telling me, by the end of it, that I should just apologize to him after sending out a tweet calling him a sexist, bigoted asshole. Sorry, Sargon. Sorry, buddy, it's not happening.
Sargon, are you a pogue? Did I stumble upon your carefully laid, trolly, poey trap?
When Sargon set up his Patreon account, he was unemployed. How much money does he make? If you look on his Patreon account, he makes nearly $300 per video. But whatever, it's their money. You know, they can do what they want with it, even though I find it to be horrible, and I find it to be just like, it's like one of the worst things that you can spend your money on.
Okay,
What are we listening to?
So
I
now,
have no idea.
These are all video responses to him
of
his videos. So, you know, like you can leave a message
Sounds like they hate him
in the comment section.
Yeah.
Well, these people actually left video comments
Did
to
you know
him.
that YouTube used to allow that?
This might be old footage of YouTube stuff, because this was all on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. YouTube used to allow you to either leave a comment on just like you do today, or you could make a video and post it as a response to the video.
Yeah, you can't do that no more.
No, not at all.
So you're thinking that this guy, Sargon of Akkard, is one real tool.
Yeah, really bad person.
Like, as soon as you start playing his voice, it's probably going to just shatter glass.
Probably,
right?
yeah.
So,
hello, and welcome to my channel. I go on the internet as Sargon of Akkard, and I chose this name because I'm a lover of history and the lessons it can teach us. I started my channel about a year ago because I was unable to silence my own conscience. too much is being done in the name of legality instead of morality. There are too many bad arguments being passed off as truth without being supported by evidence or backed up by reasonable arguments. And it got to the point where I was genuinely starting to lose sleep sometimes, because my silence was my consent. By simply doing or saying nothing, I was complicit in these activities. It got to the point that I felt that I had to have some kind of voice in the public dialogue, no matter how small and insignificant, just so I was able to rest easy at the end of the day, knowing I had done something. If I were to flatter myself, I would like to think that I'm following in the footsteps of the best classical orators, and I try to create rock-solid arguments backed up by reason, evidence, and logic.
Doesn't it kind of sound like us a little bit?
Yeah, I mean...
These people are hating on him.
Yeah, but what's he talking about, though? I mean, no, I totally agree with his methodology.
Okay, here's what he's talking about.
Hillary Clinton must lose the 2016 presidential election is
Agreed.
because of the sources of her financial backing. The sources of a person's income are their interests. These are how this person pays the bills. This is how they live their life. And so they keep these interests in the forefront of their mind before making any major decisions as to not accidentally endanger their own interests through an incompetent decision. And he who pays the piper calls the tune.
So he goes down the list of people backing Hillary Clinton.
Oh, boy.
And that's why she's got to lose, because he who takes the money pays the piper. She's going to have to pay the piper.
He who pays the piper calls the tune.
Calls the tune. So George Soros and all these other foreign governments, foreign dignitaries, could be the Saudis, and obviously in the WikiLeaks emails, she acknowledges that Saudi Arabia is funding ISIS and Saudi Arabia is funding her. So if Saudi Arabia is a terrorist nation funding terrorist ISIS, would that not make Hillary Clinton a terrorist by taking money from a terrorist regime that funds terrorists?
Well, assuming that the only way you could argue against what you just said is if you could say, well, yeah, sure, they are terrorists or they fund terrorists, but that doesn't mean that everything they fund is terrorist or terrorism related. They may be funding Hillary for some other unrelated interest that doesn't have to do with terrorism.
Okay, well, Hillary had an audio response.
Okay.
The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Oh, so...
That was her response.
That's such a good argument, Hillary.
So, but you see what they do to us? They literally use name calling.
It's not working anymore. It worked for so long that that's all they know how to do now to beat us is to start calling us names. They used to be able to scare us because we're all the workers. We're the ones that have employers. We go to work every day. We have family members and we have friends. And when it comes to politics or interests or belief systems, religion, whatever it may be, unless you're sure that they share the same belief, you want to keep that secret, and you're scared to death of them finding out that you may believe in something that they don't believe in. And also, when it comes to certain name calling, there's certain names that if you were labeled, you would be scared to death to lose your family members, your friends, your definitely your job. That you would get fired from work, or at the very least ostracized by your colleagues. And so this was a source of great fear. And they knew that. So they would just start calling you a racist or a sexist, a bigot, a homophobe. Could you imagine at work? Forget racist. Maybe you have no minorities that work with you. But you have women, and somebody calls you a sexist or a misogynist. All of a sudden you're like, oh!
HR! I'm calling HR! I'm calling HR!
It used to be the scariest thing in the world, and people were scared to death of losing their job and all this kind of stuff.
Because people did lose their jobs.
Yeah, right. And even though even if it wasn't a lot, it doesn't matter. It was enough that you didn't want to be that guy, right?
Right.
And guess what? Fast forward to today, we are done with it. We are now. You know why? Oh, dude, this is breaking. People have no job security.
Oh, you don't have a job to lose.
You either don't have a job.
We are in a situation where we got nothing to lose.
Right.
We are the tiger backed up in the corner, and we got nothing else.
Yeah, even if you do have a job, you know good and damn well today, as we speak, that by tomorrow you could not have a job for no reason. For no reason at all. Everybody is so mentally prepared to throw together a resume, certainly they already have it together, and run out and find another job or have to fall back on delivering pizzas. Everybody's already mentally prepared for it. So when it comes to scaring us into thinking that we may lose our career, 10, 15, 20, I say 15, 20, 30 years ago, there were people who worked in jobs that paid well, that they were all in on retiring from there. It would be equivalent to actual suicide.
Yeah.
To do something to lose that.
Yes.
And have to start over from scratch. Well, guess what?
Like union workers,
everybody's at scratch at all times. At all times, everybody's at scratch. And so you try to scare us by calling us a racist, bigot, homophobe, sexist, misogynist, all the above. And we're like, dude, I don't care about my job. Sure, I've had it for 10 years. Sure, I've had it for 5 years. Hell, you could have had this job for 25 years, but guess what? Every single day you know it's your last.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And not only that, but if you get fired from this, there probably ain't very good prospects out there to get anything else.
Well, you're already prepared to go deliver pizzas.
Right. We got 95 million able-bodied workers out of work.
Oh.
The highest.
Get paid by the government.
Right. The highest unemployment rate for men, able-bodied men, since the Great Depression. Literally the highest unemployment rate. So when I say we're the lion in the corner, we've had enough. Enough is enough. And take it just play a little bit from my buddy Christopher Walkens.
Oh, this is going to definitely have cuss words. Cuss words.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See the word one.
That's not in your ears. He's
It's hot out there.
Here's one of them.
The liberals biting at you. The women calling you misogynist, homophobe, sexist, bigot. They're coming at you.
Stop.
The jackals. Muslims, Islam, other people from other countries.
Stop. They do. And laughing, there's nothing.
The greatest video montage tribute to Donald Trump I have ever seen.
Oh, uses this sound
as the backdrop
yeah.
for the story. Now, I just played 1 minute and 42 seconds, but they stretch it out to like a 3-minute video clip. And in between his talks, they'll flash different pictures of Trump. It was the best year and a half in review, like the campaign in review.
It might have been like several years because they included it got banned from YouTube because didn't it include scenes?
Music.
No, it showed scenes of the Muslims with the guns to the backs of the heads of the people they were executing and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that never happened.
Oh yeah, you can't know that happened. Because if you find out, and if you dare try to let other people find out, you will be banned.
But you can show fake doctors doing fake vagina surgeries on YouTube.
Really?
Oh my God!
I'm gonna look that up.
Yes, you can.
Fake vagina surgery. Did he grab her by the vagina? I mean, you have to, I guess, if you're gonna do surgery.
Yeah, by the posse.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we have so many FCC violations.
Right. So on Fox, there's Fox Business News. I don't know if you've heard of Fox Business, but on Fox Business there was there's a woman by the name of Trisha Ann Regan. She goes by Trish, and she had a panel, and she put this to one of the libs on her panel about Hillary Clinton, and I love this woman so much. Trish Regan, you can get her on I follow her now on Twitter. She's incredible. Just listen to what she had to say to her panel about Hillary.
And I want to get back to the special prosecutor thing, because this is interesting to me. And,
They're talking about a special prosecutor right now to re-look into Hillary Clinton's crimes that should have been prosecuted. And Donald Trump saying, I'm going to throw that one in jail.
I hear the concerns about, oh, this sounds threatening, or this sounds third world dictatorship-like. I got to tell you, Marianne, it sounds like a third world dictatorship to me when somebody gets away with this stuff. I mean, anywhere else in the world, you cannot delete emails when they have been requested by the government.
You will never hear that. She might not even have a job anymore. She might not. And she also refers to the American government and this situation going on. She refers to it as a banana republic.
We're talking about America?
Because of Hillary Clinton and all the stuff she's gotten away with.
Well,
this is like a third world banana republic.
Well, yeah, the corruption. Absolutely.
Right. Well, I'm surprised she's still alive. She's the only one out there saying these things.
The only time she kills people is if you have to go and testify before either Congress or a judge or some sort of a court where you have to testify against her. Then you don't make it. You do not make that. That's a death sentence.
Right. And Katrina, the Trump campaign, you realize all the women, the beautiful women that are part of Donald Trump's campaign, and nobody talks about this. Kellyanne Conway, beautiful.
Oh yeah,
very intelligent, very strong.
Katrina Pierce,
very intelligent, very strong, but nobody wants to talk about that. When we talk about grabbing posses.
Well, you don't see them resigning.
No,
they're not outraged.
And
they're
then, and then the audio clip that came out. One of the she was a Miss Universe manager of the women there, and she played a very key role in the pageants with Donald Trump. And she was also a young pageant runner around Donald Trump. She said it was nothing. Donald Trump was nothing but uplifting and encouraging to all the women at all times. Anyways, I digress. Here's Katrina on Fox.
Katrina, he's still got time. The big Fox debate's coming up. Tell us what he's doing right now to bone up on some of these issues, as Fred points out he needs to.
Well, he's doing exactly what he has been doing, and that is talking to his advisors and boning up on some of these issues. And most of the issues that were just discussed here are going to be the topic of the third debate. Syria, Islamophobia, all of these things that are very important moving forward. And Mr. Trump does support entitlement reform. He just believes in prioritizing those reforms, starting with government corruption, cronyism, fraud, waste, and abuse. And let's not hurt the people for a change. Let's go after all of the cronyism that we have. And the Republicans were pushing, the Export-Import Bank, where they're giving tax dollars to billion-dollar corporations, but then telling, mothers, no, we can't help you with child care. We can't do that. We have to get back to the basics and govern with common sense.
You know what? Did you hear what she just said? When you've got a basketball team or a football team, wrestling's a little bit different. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. So you have a wrestler that's losing on a losing streak, and it's just not working.
Right.
Get back to the basics. Let's go back to the basics. Let's look at your moves. Let's look at what you're doing. Let's sharpen the tools. Let's reinforce all the basics that we know so that we can come back and be a better wrestler, be a better team. It's a big thing in sports, especially basketball and football. They talk about that a lot. Let's get back to the basics. What are the fundamental basics that we are not executing properly? Teamwork. One of the fundamental basics.
Is there a lack of teamwork?
You have to analyze that. You have to look at that. Katrina is now saying, and I'm going to kind of elaborate on this, America is losing. We're losing at everything. Yeah, okay, I'm quoting Donald Trump. But we're losing at everything. We don't win anymore.
Because he's right.
Right. We don't win anymore. We don't. Dictators around the world laugh at us. Russia laughs at us. People are laughing at us.
Now they're ramping up World War III.
It's a big joke now. We got to get back to the basics that made America that great, shining city on the hill. We've got to get back to that. And that's what she's talking about. And I wish the media would promote this everywhere because they're not.
Running out of time if somebody's calling.
Yeah. Yes.
So, anyway, yes. Brian's taking a call.
Okay, hold on.
Our call screener.
Our call screener dropped out there. Candy, you're on live with Smyth Radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, I called earlier about this business in Montgomery County.
Oh, calling again.
And I went in there to check, just check the site again. They've taken it down. They deleted it.
Wait, what exactly was there that's now deleted?
Well, when you go on there to the Montgomery County Elections Board, you see that you tool down and it says register to vote. You click on that and you go in there, and that's where they tell you all these things that you usually don't have to do to register to vote. Well, they took it down. There's no option to choose register to vote anymore. Somebody heard that broadcast and took it down right after the broadcast.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Oh, my gosh, that's great. Well, I guess it's great, but the thing
However, don't have any fear, because just check your county that you're in, and you probably, because I've already checked several others, and so, they're wording it the same way as Montgomery County. Same thing, exactly what I said.
Oh, my
gosh. Ditto. All the other counties in Ohio so far that I've checked, they also say the same thing. You don't have to sign it. You can put down a mark. You don't have to live anywhere. You can be transient. All you have to do is give an address from a shelter that you intend to return to. You don't even have to beat it. You don't have to live there right now.
Will they take this down because the voting
I believe that they probably
over?
Will take it down. Yeah, that's correct. But they haven't. They've been sluggish about taking down the voter registration for whatever reason. And I think they're all going to take them down. The word's going to be out. So if people want to get in there and check this out for themselves, don't take my word for it. Look at it yourself. Go to your county elections board on the Internet and put down that you want to register by mail and how to voter registration by mail. And it'll tell you your residency requirements and your signature requirements and what you have to do. Basically, the same thing I talked about earlier. It's just virtually anybody can do it. Anybody can register without proof.
And we've been talking about this on Twitter, that it has to be a landslide in order to win. And you're confirming that a landslide might not even make it. It might not even win.
Well, I'd like your listeners to check out these other sites and print it out.
They will. Absolutely. Thank you,
Print it
Candy.
out.
Thank you so much, Candy.
You. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Oh, thanks for the call. That is awesome.
Back to the voter fraud.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, what did you ask her? Because you both were talking at the same time for just a brief moment there, and I didn't hear either of you guys. So did you ask her that maybe they took it down because the voter registration deadline is over?
I thought maybe so. She said that might be, but they're very sluggish with doing that.
But they just did it at the very moment that we broadcast.
We broadcasted.
Dude, let me tell you something.
Who's working on the government with the government on a Sunday on the website?
That's right.
Who does that?
Dude, it was probably an outrage.
Dude, he's getting triple pay.
It was only if it's a Sunday and it's a holiday.
No, it's a Sunday and it's an emergency.
Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday and its emergency is quadruple pay.
I think I got 3.5 times one time.
Wow.
Because I worked on Easter Sunday. at a government union job.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so this hour brought to you by America is Rising PAC. These are Trump PACs, and they receive money from donors, and they do not collude with Trump, but yet rather put together commercials, pro-Trump commercials. And this is the one that I just absolutely love. Listen to it right here. America is Rising.
You know, our Constitution is being shredded. We know about the secret White House email accounts.
Secretary Clinton unilaterally decided to wipe her server clean and permanently delete all emails from her personal server.
I'm proud of the work we have done to elevate diplomacy and development.
Our allies don't trust us. Our enemies don't fear us.
The death of an American ambassador.
3 members of a U.S. security team on the ground in Benghazi.
What difference at this point does it make?
The Senate Intelligence Committee review found the attack was preventable. The report blamed the State Department for not increasing security in Benghazi.
Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, they wanted to reset relations with Russia and with Putin.
How'd that go?
How's that working out?
Not really working out well.
The Russian military now being directly involved in fighting Ukrainian government forces.
Many of the members of Congress of both parties who have gone to Syria have said they believe he's a reformer. I remember landing under sniper fire. There was no greeting ceremony, and we basically were told to run to our cars. Now that is what happened.
There was no sniper fire.
I misspoke. Yeah, I totally misspoke. But we came out of the White House not only dead broke, but in debt.
Looking at the book advance she had, was leaving the White House $8 million plus.
You know what? Rich people, God bless us.
Quinnipiac University found Hillary Clinton's lead is dwindling against Republican candidates.
A new poll out this morning shows former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton losing ground
in key states, including Iowa.
Are you just saying America should blindly trust her judgment?
There's one set of rules for the Clinton. You remember Whitewater? Do you remember Foulgate? You remember Travelgate? You remember Pardongate? You remember Benghazi?
Less than half say Mrs. Clinton is honest and trustworthy.
I think I'm probably the most transparent person in public life.
Why would you go down that road?
She,
well, I guess if your
is,
MO is lying, that's exactly what you would say.
She is so convoluted. Folks, I can't even begin to tell you. Not hype, not hyperbole. I fear for everything we live for. If she is able to steal this election like Hugo Chavez did with Venezuela. And look what happened to Venezuela 10 years later.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's where we're going to be. I got one real quick thing to say. We're almost out of time. You know, we always talk about proxy wars, bringing back the Russia thing right here. You know, during the Cold War, we were in a lot of proxy wars with Russia where 2 giant superpowers are fighting each other in a proxy location using a proxy country. So maybe, like, we never engaged in Russian troops in Vietnam. Right, but we were fighting the communists in Vietnam, and Russia was funding and supplying the North Vietnamese. So that's how proxy war works. And everybody's talking about, well, what about Syria? This is a proxy war. That's what a lot of liberals want you to believe. We're having this proxy war in Syria. What if there's a proxy war between Russia and Islam, and they're waging it in America?
Wow. That sucks.
That's how weak we are.
Yeah,
we are
because they could do that here.
Well,
right.
You got Islam doing all this jihad in America. You got Russia, who, if they're right about them hacking and doing all this stuff where they're intervening, next thing you know, it's just going to be a proxy war fought in America between Russia and Islam. And we're just going to be everybody's little bitch boy.
Right, and who loses?
Well, we do. Yeah.
We're the loser.
Right.
We're the number 1 grade A loser.
And either we become a Sharia, we become part of the caliphate if Islam wins, or we're at the mercy of whatever Russia wants to do with us.
Hashtag thanks Obama.
You know, it's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
What?
Because you'd be in jail.
I'm going to pay for this one on YouTube. You can't be doing this. Nope, not at all. Oh, hilarious. Folks, pray for America. Pray for the safety of Donald Trump. Oh, I'm telling you, pray for his family.
And by the way, I'm going to be seeing Mike Pence tomorrow and his entourage. I'll be driving him around all over the city.
Hey, maybe you can take him to Skyline.
He was at Price Hill Chili.
Oh, really?
Alicia got pictures with him at Price Hill Chili. Go check her timeline. Alicia Johnson.
Love you, Alicia.
With unfathomable power.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.